Hello, VOD people. How are you doing today? Hopefully you're doing well. Let's hop over to the tracking station, and I'm just going to cover here real quick what we're going to do. The chat box is probably going to block X Science. I'll just move X Science, most likely. But for now, we're going to hop over to our engineer mover, which it has decided that the entire craft is now the engineer mover. Fantastic. Let's hop on over here, and we'll talk about what we're going to get done here. So, here we are. We are at this location, and we need to bring up 7 more of these guys. Now, this is just bringing the engineer up, and this will be detached and sent home later on. That might happen this stream, or I might do that in an episode. I'm not entirely sure yet, but it will be something along those lines. So we need to bring up 7 more of these tanks. Now, they only have liquid fuel in them, no oxidizer, because we are running atomic rocket motors here. And that should be absolutely fine. We've got some fuel left in this tank, and we're going to keep moving some fuel in there. But that is the goal for this episode. We want to get all of these tank slots on this craft filled up, because we need to move a very large asteroid. So let's hop on back to the VAB here. We'll head back to the Space Center, and we are going to load up that craft. It is pre-built, since we obviously already have one of them. We need to send up a bunch of them. So we're just going to be doing liftoffs, rendezvous, dockings, and some lashing together. That's the plan for right now, and we'll see where this goes from there. I'm not planning on doing anything that will infringe on the series content. I just want to get some of this quote-unquote off-camera stuff done. So that should be fine. Okay, so we need to find our large asteroid tank. Oh, this is the final plan of what we intend that craft to look like. These will be present here as well. They will be grabbing onto the upper tanks here so that these are a little bit less mobile, shall we say. But this is the overall plan of what we're going to be constructing today, broadly speaking. Some bits of it might move around, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and open this up here, and we are going to grab the large asteroid tank, because this is what we need to launch. It's a big boy. There's no doubt about it. And we need to get 7 of them up there. So let's go ahead and get started with that. This is going to be a bit of a lengthy process, for sure, but it should be interesting. Let's go ahead and throttle up as soon as we can, as soon as we're done loading here. Oh, I'm going to have to keep an eye on X Science here. I'm pretty sure it's going to be like right here. Oh, right here. That's actually kind of non-terrible as long as you guys don't say anything too long, but I'm just going to move it up here. There we go. We're not really going to be using X Science today, so it's not really all that important, but that'll be fine. So let's just go ahead and launch this thing. Now, these are liquid-fueled side boosters, all powered by main sails. This is a very, very heavy lift launch vehicle. Like, incredibly so. And off we go. Cool. We'll start heading over for our gravity turn here very, very soon. In fact, now is probably a reasonable-ish time. We don't want to go too heavy on it, though. We just want to gently head over to get into orbit. At this point, I'm just going to lock to prograde. Okay. So we'll keep an eye on our apoapsis periapsis. Well, really, at this point, just the apoapsis matters. So we will head on through here. I know it's too late to say, but you could have used RCS to help reaction wheels turn the asteroid. Yes, that is absolutely true. That is absolutely true, but RCS is a finite resource, and I kind of wanted to use an infinite resource for that. We're probably going at a reasonable pace for going horizontal, I think, here. I think this isn't too bad. We're going to be ditching our side tanks here in about 20 seconds. And let's see how that separation goes. It should be absolutely fine. Looking at our apoapsis here, it looks reasonably okay. Cool. 10 more seconds until stage separation. 5 more seconds. Yeah, our apoapsis is looking pretty good here. So 3, 2, 1, and flame out, and stage separation. Beautiful. So our thrust to weight is only 1.32 at this point. That's not amazing, I'm not going to lie. But our apoapsis height is looking pretty decent for the moment. Our time to apoapsis is increasing. That's good. We might have had some bits collide there. That's fine. Not a big concern there. 60 kilometer apoapsis height. And I'm going to go onto stability assist. And at this point, we're picking up a roll. Okay, counteracting that. At this point, I want to head over to the horizon. Definitely picking up a roll there. Cool. There. Okay, we're at 77 kilometers apoapsis height here. All looks good. We need a fair amount more horizontal speed. That roll is exciting. I see a comment came in. I'm not looking at that at the moment because I'm working on this roll at the moment. But I'll look at that as soon as I can. Yeah, it really wants to roll here. The last one did too, so I'm not hugely surprised about that. I looked at the comment and we drifted way off. Okay. Yeah, we need to hold here for the time being. Actually, 113, we're good. We're just going to hold here. Another commenter on the last video came up with an idea to bring a small ore mining facility to mine the fuel along the way as well. Yes, I thought about that. I decided against it because I want to do the entire mining at the mining station. It's not necessarily optimally efficient, but that is the way that I would prefer to do it. But yes, you could definitely get away with doing that. Okay, let's just migrate that a little bit, and let's push this apoapsis out and circularize this a bit. We're a bit higher than I was hoping to be, but it's okay. We'll head over to that maneuver node. That burn will be in about 3 minutes. So we will physics warp as we turn here. Cool. But yeah, you definitely... It's probably best to mine the asteroid as you move it. I've done that in previous series. I decided specifically not to do that this time. I'm not sure if I ever really talked about that in the series, but yeah, that was an option that I thought about but ended up dismissing. But it's certainly an easier way to get it done than what we're doing here. Fantastic. So this burn is going to be in about 2 minutes. So we will warp towards that, and we'll get our full circularization done here. And then we will, of course, need to get ourselves our intercept. Okay, we'll burn it now. Our thrust to weight is much better these days. That's fantastic. And we've got about 50 meters per second to go here. Okay, I'm going to slow this on down a little bit. There we go. A little bit overkill on these engines at this point, but that's good enough. Cool. So at this point, we will set the engineer mover as our target. It's not actually the engineer mover. It just decided that that was the primary one, probably because it had crew in it. I think that's the way KSP works. Okay, so we're off by about 1.1 degrees here. We will, at this ascending node, go ahead and burn anti-normal, isn't it? It's negative. Yes. Okay. That'll do. 41.5 meters per second sounds good to me. We'll physics warp on over there. And let's get into position for this burn. So we are, of course, going to burn a little bit anti-normal here, and that burn will be in about 3.5 minutes. And let's warp on over. Cool. Little bit more warp here. 5 seconds. 2, 1, now. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, how are we doing? Good enough. Sounds good. So we're probably going to have to do several orbits before we get an actual intercept here, as we have been, just because we're so close. Yeah, this is going to be multiple orbits. How many? Quite a few. Quite a few. We'll back off one orbit here. I mean, this is only 4 hours. That's not too bad. No, I want to hit the button. Can we hit the button, please? Thank you. Okay. So that burn should happen sometime around here. 2.7 kilometers out. That is not bad for a first attempt. What do we got? 2.4? 2.4. Can we get any closer? Solar panels on the tank, you haven't extended them. That is a good call. I have not extended them. That is correct. I'm not super worried about the solar panels on the tank at this point because we have a huge battery on this thing. But yes, that is absolutely a good point. Okay, so we're going to get rid of these. It looks like 2.2 is about the closest we're going to get unless we can bring this in a little bit. Yeah, 2.2 is about the best we're going to get. That's okay. Good enough. But yeah, as far as the solar panels go, we have a huge battery on this thing. But yes, you are correct. We should extend those. There we go. And we don't have any comms on this thing other than what we've got here because it's going to attach to that other vehicle that does have comms on it. Okay, so let's just reaction wheel our way around. And this burn is going to be in about 4 hours. So that's going to be a fairly extensive time warp here. And let's go ahead and do that. 3 hours. 2 hours. 1 hour to go. And this is only a 1 second burn? Okay. I'm thinking that we should thrust limit these engines. We're going to thrust limit them down to like 2.5%. 2.5. And 2.5. Come on. You can do it. There we go. Okay, so we'll start that burn in about 12 seconds here. This is much better looking in terms of the burn time. Much more controllable. Way too much power in these engines for this point, but we really didn't need another stage, so this is good. 2, 1, and 0. Okay. We'll physics warp as we burn here a little bit. It really wants to roll. And I think that's because of the way the engine plates are put on. I don't know. Probably the engine plate, if I had to guess. Okay, how's that looking? 2.1 kilometers. Actually, slightly better than the best that we could find. I like it. So that's a relative speed of 25 meters per second. We will add a maneuver right around here. 25 point... What was that? 25 point... No, not with this here. Get out of here. What was that? 25.1. Okay. So 25.1. Sounds good. And that will, of course, be in target retrograde, just using this as a timer. We'll need to reorient once we get around, so I'm not that concerned about what this orientation ends up looking like. Let's warp to around here, and then we'll be able to reorient a little bit more accurately. We can see that that is our craft right there. It is currently a little ways away at about 5 kilometers, 4 kilometers. Cool. We should be safe to physics warp near this thing, in theory. I hope that's true. With the amount of strutting we put on it, it should be. We should not pick up a Kraken at this. Now at the mining station, that's a whole nother story. So we'll just get oriented for that target retrograde burn. We don't care about the maneuver directionality. Okay. So this burn is going to be in about 35 seconds here. We'll warp a little bit closer. 2.1 kilometers is allegedly our closest pass. I'm not sure how true that really is, but okay. We'll begin that burn right about now. Slightly off on our target retrograde burn there to start, but it's okay. Cool. We'll physics warp it a bit, but we want to be a bit careful physics warping because it changes the position of that object. So we'll just do something like this instead. Okay. Yeah, we can definitely see we're a bit off. That's fine. We're just going to head on over here. We've got a decent amount of liquid fuel and oxidizer left here. but we'll just head on into this guy shortly. I just want to get... Actually, target retrograde is almost exactly towards target. That's always entertaining when that happens to me. I don't know why I find that entertaining, but I do. Okay, we're going to physics warp here to stop that rotation, and we're going to cut this target retrograde a little bit more. There we go. And now we'll just point at target, and we'll burn in a little bit. We'll physics warp on the way over, and I know that it was about... not there. It's a little further than I thought it was, but okay, that's fine. We don't want to be physics warping for too much of this, of course, but we will go ahead and burn our way in here. Now, we can see we're drifting off a little bit. That's to be expected, since we're still 2.2 kilometers out. Let's burn our way in here. And this is not going to be like an impact trajectory. So that's 1.4 kilometers, 1.3, 1.2. We're going to lose efficiency soon, and we're going to have to do another get closer burn here soon, but that's okay. Yeah, that's definitely losing efficiency there. So we will go ahead and warp over to here. Well, that's definitely not what I was expecting. I warped before the intercept node, but we are past the intercept node. Gotta love KSP sometimes. Okay, we're going to flip around to target retrograde here, and we're just going to get that flipped around a bit. Okay, let's just go ahead and use gimbaling as well. I want to burn towards target anyway, so this is reasonably fine. Okay. That's only a little awkward. 3 meters per second apart. 2 meters per second apart. Okay, that'll do. Now we're going to burn into target again. Let's physics warp a bit as we turn, because this is a slow turner. It's a very big tank. And we are going to commence our burn here. And I'm keeping an eye on that number. 1 kilometer there. Half a kilometer. 0.3. 0.2. We're certainly losing efficiency. This is probably good enough. Let's switch around to retrograde. We're going to need to be in position to stop this burn. And this will bring us in nice and close. Cool. We've got a decent amount of fuel and oxidizer left in this tank to put into this tank. So that'll be great. I never trust the map separation when rendezvousing this close. Easier to just eyeball it from the craft view. Yeah, that's what I honestly do most of the time. In that situation, I wanted to warp, and I was feeling lazy, and I shouldn't have. It's rarely accurate when you're this close. That is absolutely correct. Why that's the case, I don't know, but I know that that is absolutely the case. So we're going to be ready to stop our relative momentum here pretty soon. And we're going to have to decide what port we want to go after. Probably one of the front ones again. Although we could try to target this port here. We are entering the dark side right now, which is always exciting. But that should be reasonably fine. We're still on our way in here, and honestly, we're on a good trajectory to make for one of these ports. Let's go ahead and stop our relative motion now. Could maybe boost up this thrust to weight a little bit here, but all things considered, this seems reasonably fine. 6 meters per second apart. Actually, this is looking pretty good for targeting this port. Cool. So we'll set this port as our target and control from here. We will go ahead and orient that, and then we can orient this as well. We don't have to do anything super fancy here. So we'll head on in. I'm not going to physics warp when we're this close in, just in case. But we can do a little bit of orientation dance here and then head on in. Should be fine. And then we'll ditch these components. We should also, I've been noticing a bit of lag coming into KSP. We should probably clean up all of our debris. I haven't done that this entire series. We should do that. Let's see. We should also get some roll going here, specifically this direction. Okay. About like so. Approximately. Okay, we'll swap over to here, and we will control from this port. We will set... If I can grab it. Can I grab it? Maybe. I don't appear to be able to set that docking port as target. It's probably just that I can't really grab it from this angle. Oh, hello. Is that it? No. Okay. Well, honestly, this eyeballing it looks pretty good. It's not exact. We could consider heading over, like... No, I think we're going to call this good. We can go in at, like, a tiny amount here. 0.5 meter per second. Okay. We're going to warp in a bit. And once we're a little closer, we'll try to orient it again. Okay. There we go. Now we can grab it. So we'll point at target. And that should make this much easier. Since we can just rotate this whole mechanism, this is fine. Okay, so that is approximately lined up. And we'll line this up as well. We're going to need to use our RCS to attempt to bring this over a little bit, because we can see we are a bit off. And this is going to continue to turn us, which isn't exactly what we want, but we have a little time here. Our RCS is really weak for this, for the record. Okay, let's try to reorient back here. Is this part of the deep space mining game? Yes. We are working on getting the tanks brought up on stream instead of just doing it off camera. That is the plan here. Okay. So I'm going to continue to try to adjust our velocity here a little bit. It really doesn't want to move over. We may end up having to kill velocity here. And honestly, I think that's probably going to be our best bet. Or just try to pull the velocity over a bit. That might be a possibility too. So just turn it over this way. Because we're only moving at 0.6 meters per second, right? So turn it over this direction and pull it like this. Yeah, this is definitely the way to do it right now. That's close enough for now. And we're going to head over towards target. We're a little bit wonky on our angling here, but we will bring it in. We're about 20 meters apart. Does the ship have enough reaction wheels for the asteroid? Yeah, eventually. Eventually. Okay, so we should see docking forces here quite soon. Yeah, I think we're seeing docking forces right now-ish. Ooh, that's spicy. Okay. Let's stop that rotation. There we go. We missed a little bit, but that's fine. We'll stop that rotation. There we go. And we will go to target. And we're going to get a little bit of velocity in here. Okay, it's coming around a different direction than I thought it was. I thought that this was the prograde node. That was the retrograde node that I saw over there. So that could be exciting. We're going to need to bring this over a little bit. Cool. This is a very awkward little dance that we've got going on here. But we should, in theory, be able to get it to dock with docking forces, is what I'm hoping. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to do that to kill our relative momentums. Or rather, not our relative momentums, but the rotation. This is very awkward. Okay. We'll try it again. We're going to flip around to target retrograde. And we're going to try to bring this in again. Yeah, that didn't work quite the way I'd hoped. Physics warping for the time being as we attempt to turn this thing. Very large loads mean that things can be awkward for sure. But we'll get around to target retrograde. And this should be fine. We're going to bring this in a lot more accurately this time. Why don't I put the RCS thrusters on the center of mass so I don't rotate as much? Well, for one thing, we aren't having a rotation problem because of the RCS thrusters. They're just not really powerful enough to do anything here, in all honesty. Our ship is too heavy for the RCS that we have. Okay, let's hold that here and bring this in. We're killing our relative velocity, and then this will be fine. There we go. Now we'll align to target, and we'll come over here and make sure that this is aligned to target, and it basically already is. So that's perfect. We'll physics warp as we forget to align to target. Okay, now we'll align to target. Cool. And now we'll head in. This should be much, much better of a docking maneuver. Are we correct on our roll? Approximately. Okay. Let's try to correct our roll a little bit here. There we go. And now I'm trying to use RCS here to adjust our velocity ever so slightly. But I don't really want to SAS with it. All I'm using this for is to adjust our heading. Okay. There we go. That should, in theory, be fine. Maybe. I feel like we're drifting this way, but only from that angle. So, I think it's fine. I think it's fine. Oh, that was a bit of a spicy autosave there. Really? That didn't dock? That makes me sad. Well, we're just killing our relative speed here, and we're going to go in again at a lower speed. 0.1 meters per second here. Let's bring this in a bit. Okay. Hopefully we don't bounce off the docking port this time. I think we're good. There we go. Fantastic. Well, that was way more trouble than it needed to be, but we're going to move all of that in. Oh, I closed that. Did not mean to do that. There we go. All the fuel and oxidizer, and then we can decouple this because we no longer need this. Cool. Okay. So at this point, we can have Goebbels EVA. And we can let go here because we need to come up over here and do some work. Is the docking port in the right direction? Yeah, it absolutely is. Okay, so we are then going to start lashing these together. And were there 2 more over on each of these? No, there was 1 over here. That's right. So we'll just strut all of that together, like so. And then I'm going to put this one over here. There we go. Cool. So we'll move all of these in. I do not want to grab that RCS thruster necessarily. So we're just going to bring these guys in. That's a little awkward, but it'll do. We don't have to have it look pretty. We just have to have it be connected to the right bits. Okay. We bring this guy over and this guy over. And apparently we are hurtling off into space. Fantastic. Come on, Goebbels. Let's come up over this way. We've got a few more of these to lash on. So 1, 2, 3. Perfect. Okay, Goebbels, let's get back to your pod. There we go. That's 2 of our 8 tanks put on. We've got a ways to go on those. So one thing I would like to do is I would like to go through and untrack a bunch of debris. I think that's causing some lag. So that's definitely something that I would like to do here. Oh, I was in the wrong perspective. There we go. Why don't you hop on board, Goebbels, and let's head back to the Space Center at this point. And we've got a lot of things here that we just want to get rid of. I haven't actually done this entire time, and I really should have been. But we're definitely, at least from what I can tell, picking up a little bit of frame rate issues. So let's get this in here before we get the next tank sent up. So we're going to hop into the tracking station and see about getting rid of some of this. It shouldn't take a huge amount of time. So I want to toggle debris, and most of this debris we can just terminate. In fact, everything classified as debris here, we don't care about. So there's 80 of these. That's rather a lot, but with all of this gone, that should help matters pretty dramatically, actually, in terms of game performance. That's been my experience in the past anyway. So let's go ahead and get that done. I'm enjoying all of your content, but one thing I'm not sure of is how to pronounce your channel name. It is pronounced Atreides. Just for the record. There you go. Okay, so we've got a bunch more debris here. We've got about 65 more debris to get rid of, but this shouldn't take too long. Just get rid of all of this, and now we don't have to worry about having that loaded and unloaded and tracking the physics of it and all that. Should be fine. I literally haven't done this since we started this game, so there's some very, very old things. That's a lot of debris. Yes, it absolutely is. This is something I should have been doing, like, after every episode, but I just haven't been. Moonlander debris. Yup, we've got various landers orbiting a lot of different stuff. 50 more to go here. It's tedious for sure. A lot of this stuff over here is not in the Kerbal system, and so it was likely not causing too many issues. But let's just get rid of it. None of this debris is necessary to track at this point. Of course, in real life, you want to continue tracking it. Does tracking a lot of stuff also increase the probabilities of Kraken attacks? In my experience, yes, because I think that Kraken attacks are related largely to frame rate issues while having physics loaded. So if you have a lot of debris that is causing issues with, like, frame rate or time to load and things like that, I think that that can exacerbate Kraken issues. So it is a good thing to keep these things cleaned up. Does debris despawn when you stop tracking it? Yes. So if you read what it says here, this will destroy the vessel, killing all crew in it. It just completely gets rid of it from the game. Of course, in real life, that's not the way this works, and you want to keep tracking your debris as long as possible so that hopefully you don't have it crash into anything important. But this isn't real life. This is KSP. So we're going to just terminate all of this flight. We're not untracking it. We are terminating the flights, and that just essentially deletes it from the game. So it doesn't have to keep track of any of this stuff anymore. Okay, there's a little bit left here. The large asteroid mover core we're now on, and some of our asteroid redirectors. So we are almost done getting this section done. Fantastic. Various moon miner bits. Yeah. Ignore that. That might be a spoiler for next episode. And the engineer mover debris. Okay, there we go. There's all of our debris except one cleaned up. I didn't get this one. There we go. Cool. So now we'll launch ourselves another tank. And that'll be fine. Assuming this loads properly? Okay, there we go. Fantastic. We'll hop into the VAB and get ourselves another tank going. Because we need to launch 6 more of these bad boys. Okay, this is ready to go as is. So we'll go ahead and launch. And once again, we want a relatively steep ascent profile. I would like to get maybe a little more horizontal speed than we did last time, but we got to be careful with that. We don't have a fairing on this thing. So we're going to want to get through the atmosphere relatively quickly. SAS on and throttle up. And off we go. We will begin turning about now. Don't want to be too aggressive with it. That's probably good. And let's just lock prograde from here. So we are going to have this these side tanks burn out in about 45 seconds here. And that seems fine. We are all the way through the thickest parts of the atmosphere right now. So that's fantastic, but we're still going to be picking up a lot of speed and, by extension, heating on these unprotected components. That's why we want to go up more than sideways right now. Normally I'd be more aggressive on this turn, but I think overall this is reasonable. Apoapsis' height of 32 kilometers is looking good. Is there a mod for multiple launch sequences, meaning you can launch multiple vessels at the same time and at the same time? Probably. Would be my guess. That sounds like something you might be able to do with, like, KOS or something. I don't know. I don't usually play too heavily modded, so that's probably something that you can do. Okay, we're now out of the atmosphere for our apoapsis, so I'm going to head directly over to the atmosphere. This is, of course, the point where we start picking up a roll. And I'm just going to counteract that a bit. All of the engines firing at once sounds so weird and tinny. Yeah, that's just something that KSP does when it layers those engine noises together. I don't know that there's too much anybody can really do about that. But yeah, it's very strange sounding. Absolutely. And we will stop our burn once we reach 100 kilometers this time. Cool. Definitely a lot less of a roll this time that we picked up. That's nice. 90 kilometer apoapsis. And almost at our engine cutoff point, which would be right now. There we go. So we can add a maneuver here. And just circularize that at about 100 kilometers. It doesn't really have to be exact, but close enough. And we'll get ready for that. Extend our solar panels so that I don't forget this time. I do wish there was giant Carbidine tanks that you could have with just liquid fuel and omit the oxidizer tank. That would be nice. I wish that that was an option. I'm sure there's a mod for that one. Like, I'm like 1,000,000% sure that there's a mod for that one. Because that would be a super easy mod to make, I would think. But that's okay. So we're going to be ready for this warp soon. That's going to be in about a minute 20, or rather this burn in about a minute 20. Okay, we will circularize here in 4 seconds. And off we go. After we get in orbit here, I should probably thrust limit these. I felt like 2.5% was maybe a little bit low. I'm probably going to try 5% thrust this time. $50 meters per second to go here. This is almost certainly close enough. Yeah, this is close enough. So we will set this as our target. I do want to thrust limit these engines down to, this time we're going to go for 5%. We'll see how that feels. Cool. And there we go. Okay. So our ascending node is over here. We're a little further off on our inclination this time. That's fine. Just need to burn a little anti-normal here. About like that. Only 60 meters per second. Not a big deal. We'll physics warp as we burn over there. I am definitely feeling like the frame rate is doing a lot better, so I'm glad we took the time to untrack those. However, the frame rate feels like it drops a lot when we get in range of the other craft, so hopefully that's going to be cleaned up a little bit, but we'll see. Okay, we're about 10 minutes away from this warp, or rather this burn. I keep saying that. That's exciting. Now we're about 1 minute away from the burn. 30 seconds. And let's burn this now. So this is at 5% thrust. This is definitely feeling a little bit better. Maybe still a little low for this particular burn. We'll see what the others feel like. The next one might end up being 10% thrust, though. I'm wondering if maybe we should... Well, we can't actually do that. If we could turn off the roll gimbal on the mainsails, that would be nice. Because I feel like it's the mainsails that are picking up that roll, but it's okay. We should be able to handle that. About 10 meters per second left to go here. I definitely feel like that at this stage, maybe 10% thrust would have been better. That's probably close enough. Oh yeah, that's good. Okay, so we're going to have to find our intercept again. And how's our timing looking this time? We're definitely going to have to do a couple orbits, but that's fully expected and completely fine. That isn't bad. Maybe it is bad. Subtract an orbit from here. There we go. That's much more like it. About here. 4.5 kilometers out, and we can... Ooh, I saw 0.4? 0.4. Can we get that any closer? The answer is no. I mean, 0.4 is pretty good. There's no doubt about that one. We could try to toss in a little bit of normal to try to, or a bit of anti-normal. Yeah, a bit of anti-normal gets us even closer. 0.1. That looks good to me. That should make this a much easier docking attempt. And we will get oriented for that burn. It will be not exactly a pure direction burn, because we have that tiny bit of normal in there, but it'll be close. Okay, we'll go ahead and warp to this. That's going to be in about an hour. So a number of orbits. Okay. Let's orient for this. Apparently we were a little bit off on that orientation, but that's not shocking considering that was like 4 orbits. So that'll be fine. The burn is going to be here in about 45 seconds. We do need to get oriented for it still. And our orientation here looks okay, but I'm not entirely sure if that's going to remain the case. So we are going to begin a physics warp here, or not really a physics warp, begin a time warp here pretty soon. We're only about 20 seconds away from the start of this burn, though. So that's reasonably fine. Okay. And let's go. This burn, we definitely can physics warp. It'll put us a little bit off, probably, on our... Yeah, it's going to put us a little bit off here on our intercept, but we can bring this around like so, and hopefully not push it quite as far. 0.1 meters per second off there, and 0.2 kilometers. Honestly, I'm okay with that. So that's a separation of 60.7. We'll put in a timer here. 60.7. I need to remap this so that the numpad period doesn't minimize this. Actually, I should do that like right now if we can do that from here. I think I have to go back to the main menu to do that, don't I? Yeah, I'm pretty sure I do. Sad. But that's something I definitely should do. So we are going to maybe up thrust these a little bit, up to like 10% thrust. We'll see how that feels. Are the Mark III liquid fuel tanks too big for this? If anything, they're too small for what we're planning on doing with them. Yeah. They're, am I thinking of the right ones? I might not be. I don't know. We'll look at that once we are back at the VAB. I want to double check which ones the Mark IIIs are. I might be thinking of a different fuel tank. I'll answer that once we get this dock finished. How about that? Okay. So we're just going to get oriented for this burn. That'll be in about 12 minutes. Okay. And let's warp on over. It should be out on this side. Yes. Okay, so we'll start that burn here in about a minute. And right about now. This is at 10% thrust, which is feeling pretty decent, if I had to be honest. What am I doing? We need to be at target retrograde. I'm so dumb. Wow. Okay. Well, we're going to miss by a decent amount because I oriented to the wrong direction. Okay. We're going to commence burn now. We're still about 1.5 kilometers out, so that's not too bad. But yeah, I definitely oriented to the maneuver node, not to target retrograde. But that's okay. We're close enough. 10 meters per second to go here. 2, 1. Okay, that's close enough. We're going to burn in towards the target at this point, and we'll just pull that on over at about 10 meters per second. Flip around to target retrograde again. And we're not going to exactly hit the target. What is this saying? 0.6. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's quite a lot closer. Okay. Let's physics warp it as we turn. And we'll bring this guy on in. About 9.5 meters per second. Okay, and we're going to start a time warp here pretty soon. Okay. Let's time warp it a bit closer. The ones that are for the space shuttle? Okay. Yeah, we'll look at that as soon as we are having this guy docked up. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and kill this relative velocity right about... I think now is a decent time to do that. We're about 500 meters out. And now we will turn over towards target, and I'm going to want to get a little closer before we align here since we can't set specific docking ports as target. So that'll be okay. We will physics warp our turn, but we're going to have to unphysics warp as we get a little closer here because this changes. Yep. Okay. There we go. And we're going to burn in here a little bit. You can see our retrograde is basically at the towards target. That's good. I want to see that right now. And we are drifting a little bit away from this, and let's push on in towards target. Just going to push in at about 1.5 meters per second right now. I just want to get a lot closer here because we're going to have to flip again. I'm going to turn on RCS to assist our flip. And that is going to alter our orbit a little bit, but that should be fine. Okay, now that we're moving, I'm going to turn the RCS off, and we will arrest this movement with time warp. Cool. So what is this saying it's going to be? 0.3? I mean, I don't trust it. It's probably inaccurate. So let's bring this on in. Once again, we're going to be docking in the dark, which is just perfect timing. I love it. But that's fine. It's not like we have power issues. So it should be completely okay. So we're going to get this flipped around to retrograde here. We've got lots of time here, it looks like, since we're only moving at about 1.2 meters per second right now. And we are going to miss a little bit, but I want to warp in. Hopefully we're within, like, I mean, ideally would be 150 meters, but I think that's pretty unlikely. So we're going to warp on in here starting now. And let's see how this relative motion goes. This is drifting quite a lot. So we're going to have to reorient here. So we'll have to compensate for that. But overall, I'm comfortable with this direction that we're moving. Okay. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. That was absolutely the wrong button. I was trying to stop the time warp. We are a long ways away from it now, aren't we? We are. Well, we're actually about 10 kilometers. So that was absolutely the wrong button. This is going so well. This is going so well. But we're only 10 kilometers out. We can bring that back in. Oh. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, we're going to bring this to a halt. I was comfortable with that directionality, but I was trying to stop it and then hit the wrong button multiple times, and we just warped forward instead of stopping the warp. Okay. At this point, we need to re-intercept the target. This intercept is not bad, actually. We're going to physics warp as we flip here. And there we go. Okay. Let's see what this burn looks like. Oh yeah, this is fine. Whoops. Yeah, absolutely. That was just me hitting the wrong button. Not too much to say about that. Okay, our relative speed is starting to go back up now. That's okay. We've got plenty of delta V for this. We are starting to lose the... we're starting to lose efficiency in this direction. So I'm going to put a burn up over here a couple minutes in the future. And, ooh, that was a lot. Let's try to bring that down a bit. Okay. Yep, no normal. Will a radial burn be more efficient here? Yes. Absolutely. Cool. That'll do. We'll align to that maneuver. And hopefully we'll get there before the start burn timer. The maneuver is right up here. We will physics warp. Are the Mark III tanks the big orange tanks? No, I don't believe so. Although the big orange tanks are for the, well, maybe actually the big orange tanks are for the space shuttle, the space shuttle strap-on tank. So that might be the ones that you're talking about. If that's the case, those tanks are smaller than these tanks. Okay. So we're going to start this burn in right now. 15 meters per second to go. Okay, overshot that ever so slightly. It's probably still fine. Yes. Okay, we're going to need to flip around to target retrograde. This intercept is going to be in 2 minutes. So we're going to need to flip around here. And we will definitely do so. I am very Brad at gravity. This is true. No, you were right the first time. Okay, we're going to warp on in here. The big ones with flat sides. Okay, yeah. I thought that was the ones you were talking about. Okay, so we will come on in this way, and let's go ahead and stop this relative speed. We are shooting past a little bit, but this is fine. I want to be... this is going to be okay. We're already halfway through that burn. Yep, completely fine. About 250 meters out. Not bad. Okay. At this point, I want to burn towards target. A little bit. Not very much. Let's just do that. There we go. That's burning us towards target. Very, very slightly. At this point, I want to choose which of these ports we want to target, which would be this one right here. I don't think we can actually grab it yet. A rocket version and a liquid fuel only version. Okay, we'll have to check to see if that has more fuel capacity than the Turbidine does. It might, if it has a liquid fuel only version. But we're probably going to continue using these tanks since that's what we have set up right now. Okay, let's go ahead and time warp in a bit until we can actually target the ports here. Okay, we're going to need to adjust our velocity here. There we go. And let's bring this on in a little bit. Cool. So at this point, I'm going to flip around to anti-target. We're coming in at a decent trajectory here. But we're going to need to halt our momentum soon enough. I do want to set this docking port as our target. I'm not setting these ones just yet because I want to go after the more complicated one to go after for the moment. Okay. So we're going to orient around over here. Now, we're not actually looking to go to anti-target. Where we're actually looking to go here is target retrograde, but that will be near anti-target. And we can't go to target retrograde at this time. Yeah, there it is. Okay. So we're heading up over this way. Let's stop that physics warp and kill that roll. There we go. And head over to target retrograde. At this point, we're going to be able to line up for the actual docking pass, and that is great. Unthrust limit the engines for this burn? Oh yeah, that's a great idea. Okay, that'll do for now. We'll point at target, and we'll swap over to here. We want to control from this docking port, and we want to set this docking port as our target. If I had it open there. There we go. Okay. So we'll get these aligned. And we're going to need to roll this a little bit as well. Hello. These reset on us. Okay. We'll just get those put back to where they're supposed to be. This is a bug that I've been seeing where when it loads in, these can just like drift freely. I'm not sure why they do that. If anybody has an answer for that, I'd love to know. That would be very handy for the mining station. Okay. So we're not quite in position here yet. But actually, we need to roll this all the way over. You can make the top ring out of these tanks and the bottom out of the other one. Yeah, that's an option. We can't move this. So maybe we should target this just to be on the safe side. That's something we can do. Okay. We'll mostly just have to roll this thing. But that should be fine. Okay. I'm going to start burning towards this target a tiny, tiny amount, like 0.2 meters per second for right now. We were drifting backwards, and I didn't really want to be going that way. This tank does not need to go on top because it has the grabber. We are planning for all tanks to actually have the grabber because I want to grab this tank with this tank to essentially lash the two together. Is the overall idea there. But we are, if we're going to be targeting this port, we do need to be going this way. This thing has a bunch of roll, and we're probably going to want to kill that roll pretty soon. Like that. Okay. There we go. Let's head on in towards this port. And we're going to need to come off of the marker a little bit because of our relative velocity. There we go. And stop that movement. Head back in. And I'm going to use RCS here. We're going to decelerate a little bit. That's accelerate. That was accelerate. We are going to decelerate. I can't remember what the button is to decelerate. There it is. N. Okay, so this thing is just a rollin'. I'm not sure why it's decided to do that, if I'm honest. But I wish it would stop. Because this is going to be a problem. We're going to impact here, and that's actually good for us right now, because... Can you stop? There you go. Okay. Now we're going to realign for this, and hope that this thing doesn't roll quite that heavily. Let's just get it aligned and turn off this SAS. I think that'll be for the best. I do want to kill that relative momentum. Okay. You turn off SAS. There. Now we're pretty far off here. And I doubt that we can compensate for that with RCS. Yeah, we're going to have to compensate for it with engine gimbal, which pretty much means we have to try this again. This tumble that this thing picked up was intense. Absolutely intense. We don't actually want this to dock here. We might go around and attempt to get this next one. We're going to impact it here. Actually, that impact wasn't bad. Okay. That was really awkward, for sure. Really, really awkward that this guy just decided to start tumbling. We're going to bring these a bit together. This is okay. We do need to change our... we need to change our orientation here. Actually, we don't have to. We can always move these parts, but that would be for the best. Okay, you stop. There we go. You head to target. Okay. Relative velocity is right here, which is very convenient for us. And let's get turned in here. Our angling is not perfect, but we can adjust that. I want to head up to relative velocity, or to retrograde, rather. And we're going to bring this on in. There. Okay. Perfect. Now let's set up our angling correctly this time. So I want to get this guy rolled over to be facing this direction here. Like that. And we'll get you angled in, and then we'll get you angled in. This is much better. Cool. SAS off. Freeze those physics. There we go. Now we're going to head in. This should work just fine. No problem. Just adjusting our angling ever so slightly here. That's almost correct. Probably close enough. Our velocity has drifted a little bit, but I think as long as we can turn a bit, we should be fine. Really? You're really telling me that that didn't dock? Okay. That's exciting stuff. Okay. Let's bring this on in. Very gently here. I do not want to bounce. This should do the trick. I do realize that docking forces aren't as strong as I'm used to because these are ludicrously heavy parts, but even so, should be fine. We're slightly off on our angle, but docking forces will likely compensate. At this speed, they should. Go on. Come on. You can do it. With that SAS, that should do it. Little bit more turn. Boy, this is acting finicky. Surely that'll do it. Really? Okay. It really doesn't want to dock this. These were all put on exactly the same way. They're definitely not facing the wrong way. Any moment now, buddy. Any moment now. You know you want to. Nope. I think docking forces have us right now. Just hold here. Pointing at target. Just gotta flatten it out a bit. Yeah, we're just slightly crooked here, I think is the problem. But docking forces are on the job. I think it's about to go on. I'm just not touching anything at this moment. It's so close. I can see that the back end here is swinging this way. And that's exactly what we need. So any moment now. There's no way I'm going to physics warp right now. I'm not going to do anything at this moment. All we need is just to straighten this out ever so slightly. But it's the back end that has to swing this way, and that is happening. Very slowly. Just incredibly slowly. I would transfer this fuel and eject this to have it happen faster, but we're not docked. So that's not an option at this moment. That's fine. I want to check our angling here. We could actually roll this a little bit to go like that. To be just slightly straighter. Yeah. Our problem here is this end needs to come this direction. And it doesn't need to do much. And actually, the station is going this way as well. So that is going to work out. It's just a matter of time at this point. Come on, KSP. You can do it. I'm sure it'll be fine. I don't want to throttle up at all. I just want this to happen. We could quick save here and try a time warp. But when we do that, the two of them don't face each other anymore at that point. Actually, looking at this, there. That's what we needed. Fantastic. So at this point, we will transfer that over to here. And we will ditch this tank. Cool. Okay, let's go take a look at that Mark III tank. Well, that was a bit tedious. Perfect. So let's take a look at that tank. Your SAS is on. Won't that prevent it from turning? No, actually, we were targeting the... we were turning it towards target with SAS. So that was actually turning it. Okay, let's hop into the VAB, take a look at that Mark III tank. We know that our fuel tanks that we have right now, the absolutely massive ones, we know that these contain 23,040 liquid fuel. Okay, so Mark III. So you're talking about these guys here, like the rocket fuel fuselage and the monoprop tanks and such. Yeah, we haven't strutted that tank in. We will do that. I just wanted to pop back here and take a look at this first. So, like this rocket fuel fuselage, that contains a whole lot less liquid fuel. So you would be looking at the liquid fuel fuselage. This contains 10,000. So that is like... we would need 3 of those to exceed the number of the Kerbodyne. Now, that is 57.14 tons in mass. And the Kerbodyne S4 is... let's see. 288 tons in mass. So that may end up being more mass efficient. Yeah, I think that that would end up being more mass efficient. We would need multiple tanks. Okay. We would need 3 of those, and that would certainly be more mass efficient. We're going to do 1 more of these just for symmetry's sake, but I think then we'll redesign and shift over to that for the bottom ones, like you said. I think that'll be a good plan. Okay, let's go strut in that tank real quick here. You're bad. I'm not sure what you're talking about. You are, you were correct that it was more mass efficient to do it that way. We can get rid of this debris. We don't need that. And we can hop over to the engineer mover, and let's strut that in. That redesign is going to be interesting for sure, but for similar levels of mass, we should be able to bring 4 of those tanks, and that might even be a similar level of space, so those would go like over here. But yeah, I'll bring in 1 more of these guys for this port, just for symmetry purposes. We're going to bring Goebbels out, and we are going to I hopped right back in. We're going to EVA here, and we are going to let go. We, of course, need to come over and strut this guy on in. Okay. So let's go ahead and work on that. Strut that straight on there, and then let's come up here and grab this one. Cool. And then we'll come around to this side here. Bring that in. Now, we don't actually have one on the bottom. We probably should get one there, but if we're only going to do one more of these, I'm not sure how much use that will really be. We really probably do have enough struts here, in all honesty. This is a lot of struts. And considering we're not going to have thrust out here, it should be fine. This did not connect where I'd hoped that it would. Let's just get that set up, and sure. That's awkward looking, but it's fine. Okay, Goebbels, let's get these set up. There we go. That's definitely how I wanted you to do that, Goebbels. Weld it to a weird place and then do a backflip. I like it. That's a good plan. Okay. So we will get these guys set up as well. I want that one around here. Do we have any more of these? Yeah, we've got a couple of them. Cool. Let's head down over here. Looks like there's just 2 left. There. That should be sufficiently strutted. More than sufficiently strutted. Overkill levels of strutting are always, in my opinion, best. Okay, Goebbels, let's head right on back in. And there you go. So there's another one. We'll send up one more of these, and then we'll look at a redesign for those Mark III tanks. I think that is the way to go. We can fit 4 of those Mark III tanks into... It's going to be slightly more massive to have 4 of those tanks than to have 1 of these, but that's going to give us 40,000 instead of, I think, 23,000, which is ridiculous. I do want to check to see if that weight increase is including the fuel. I believe it is, but we'd need to double check that. In fact, we can do that right now. So let's go ahead and get ourselves a new craft here real quick. As soon as this loads in. We are going to have to bring up one more of those big tanks for sure. But let's go ahead and get ourselves a new craft here. This is already a new craft. I don't really care what we have this attached to. We are going to grab the S4. You could strut the tanks to each other. Would that be possible? We do plan on connecting the tanks to each other via the grab arms. Okay, so we're just going to put in this giant S4 here, and all I care about right now is what our mass is. So that's 288.84 tons, but we drop that oxidizer. So that's 148.04 tons. Okay, so that 288 included the oxidizer, which is basically half the weight of this tank. Now, if we were to add in the Mark IIIs, so Mark III here, if we were to use not the rocket fuel fuselage, but the liquid fuel fuselage. Okay, so we put one of them there. We can see size-wise, they're going to be bigger, for sure. So we would need to have 3 of these to equal, well, it would exceed one of these. But if we wanted to equal it, then we would need this to contain only like 3,000. So we wouldn't actually need the long liquid fuselage. This would be more likely to be similar. This would be 25K versus 23K. And then we can back this off to be like here. So that is the same amount of fuel here as we have here at this point. So this is 280.89 tons. Okay, so 148.04. 133.69. So it is slightly more mass efficient to do it this way. Okay. As I said, for symmetry reasons, I don't actually want to save this. As I said, for symmetry reasons, I do want to put up one more of these large asteroid tanks. But we will design it to be that 25K for the other 4. So we'll do it that way. That is slightly more weight efficient. So that would be easier to get into orbit. Oh, we should probably add that other strut in before we launch this, now that I think about it. Just because it's a little awkward that we've only got the 3 struts for attaching to the actual core. Okay, come on. You can load up. Anytime now, KSP. There we go. Okay, we're going to revert that right on back to vehicle assembly because I want to get those struts in quad symmetry. Okay. You don't think it's worth changing the design? It is a minor weight savings, but it may not be worth it. Okay. And we can just do something like that. That's fine. You already have the vessel designed. Yeah, I mean, it is functional. It's true. But you are correct that it is slightly more efficient to do it that way. If you guys don't want me to redesign it, that's fine. We don't have to redesign it. But let me know. What do you guys think? So we're going to put this back out on the pad. Either way, we're definitely going to launch one more of these. Any moment now, KSP. There you go. Throttle up. SAS on. And off we go. Let's bring this guy in again. Hopefully this time I won't make dumb mistakes. But I probably will. What about the cost? I didn't evaluate the cost. Honestly, I'm not that concerned about the cost. It may or may not be more expensive. I don't know. I'd have to double check that. So off we go. This feels like a fairly aggressive turn, if I'm honest. We'll see. May want to hang at 45 degrees here for a moment. Too slight of a change to bother. If the cost is significantly cheaper, it would be worthwhile. It would have to be pretty significant, though. We'll double check that after we're done with this flight, because we're going to have to decide at that point anyway. I'm going to hold here for a bit, because I feel like we're too aggressive on the gravity turn. And once we hit about 50 kilometers here, we'll start pitching over again in terms of apoapsis height. But that definitely felt way too steep. Well, it was too steep. Okay, so for the sake of time, I'm just going to revert this back, but we will get rid of the flight here. That was too steep because it blew into us there. So we're going to revert that back to vehicle assembly, and then we'll remove the cost of that, just because it would take a long time to do that. So we are going to remove that cache. So we're going to go in here and reduce 1, 2, 3, and 34 of these. Or 35. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. So that does mean that we're going to be short on cash. But yeah, that was definitely too steep of a gravity turn. So we're going to hop on out of here, and we're going to go over to our contract center, and let's just see if we've got some super easy cash to make here. A new orbital station, blah, blah, blah. Science data from surface of Minmus. Planted flag on the moon. Honestly, we'll probably come back to that. Okay. So the problem there was we were too horizontal when that separation happened. And that caused the aerodynamic forces to push the separation into our core there. So that just means that I was correct. We were taking too steep of an approach. So we'll go again. It's absolutely fine. We will be able to get the cash. We just may have to go after that Duna mission at some point. I don't know that that's going to be during this stream. We'll see. But yeah, that was just too aggressive aerodynamically. That's what that indicates. Okay, throttle it up, and off we go. So this time, I'm going to be less aggressive on that. Substantially less aggressive. I would rather this thing go largely straight up. Okay, we'll start heading over now. There we go. That was just a lot too aggressive. Cool. We'll sit prograde now. And also there was the fact that we were off of our prograde marker, which is a big part of the reason why that happened too. We're just going to chill here though, and this time it should be completely fine. So up we go. Cash is going to be a minor concern, but honestly all we're going to have to do is go to Duna, and we won't have any cash problems whatsoever. So that'll be fine. But going to Duna is definitely a series action. That is not a stream action. We'll have to leave some cash in the bank for that, but that's okay. So we're at about 700 meters per second here. Apoapsis height of about 50 kilometers. Separation will be now. Much better separation. Fantastic. And at this point, I'm going to start bypassing the maneuver node. Or not the maneuver node, but rather the prograde node. And we are going to head over towards the horizon now. We want pure horizontal speed from here on out. But yeah, we want to be a lot more cautious while we have the boosters attached still. Once the boosters are detached, we can kind of go crazy. But with the boosters attached, we absolutely need to chill. So that's fine. We'll head on over here. Cool. And we'll just get horizontal speed until our apoapsis is about 100 kilometers again. Basically the same ascent profile that we've been doing this whole time. Want to hold us right at the horizon, if at all possible. This is one of those things that MechJeb would make a lot easier by just holding at the horizon. MechJeb has a function for that. But this playthrough is not using MechJeb. I have used it in the past, but not this time. Okay, we've picked up a lot of horizontal speed, and that's really, really good. We've also picked up a bit of a roll here, but it's all fine. Okay, there we go. We can cut the engines, and we will get into orbit here. Nice prograde burn. That's a little too much prograde. And yeah, like 200 meters per second. Not bad. We'll head on over to that maneuver node. And get out of here. There we go. So let's just get turned on over. It's only a 10-second burn, but we don't have to be hugely accurate with it. Let's get these solar panels extended. Okay. We'll warp towards that burn. About a minute to go on that one. And let's burn. Should be fine. Okay, that's good enough. We'll stop that tumble, and let's set this guy as our target. Descending node of 0.6, huh? Interesting. Well, this is us right here, so that was a much better ascent after a much worse ascent. That was a tremendously bad ascent, I will say. This needs to be normal. There we go. Only 22.7 meters per second on that. Cool. We'll get flipped around for it. And we are going to be able to warp to this burn right about now. Should probably think about thrust limiting. The explosive powers of the decouplers are, I believe, maxed by default. Actually, we kind of can't thrust limit this right now because we're right by it. Yeah, we're not going to do that for the moment. But that's fine. I'm pretty sure the decouplers are maxed. We can double check that, though. Okay, 20 seconds till this burn. I'm going to burn a little early because we're not going to full thrust. Okay. That should be more than good enough. Absolutely. So let's get ourselves an intercept here, and this will be... If I can actually drag this. There we go. Something along the lines of that. Did it untarget this? It did. Okay. Sure. So this is probably going to be at least... Actually... Yeah, it is going to be +1 orbit. But it's not going to be bad, all things considered. Yes. Right here. 2.1 kilometers is reasonable, but 0.1 kilometers is even better. That's good enough for me, so we're going to position for that. 0.1 kilometers is incredibly close. Okay. We are aligned for the burn as of now. And we'll go ahead and warp to that. We have to get a full orbit here, and then we come on around. About 40 seconds here. 20 seconds. Okay, let's start this burn now-ish. It's going to be slightly off because I'm not thrust limited, but that's fine. Okay. Just want to move over here a little bit, and how's that? 0.1? Looks good to me. So 40.8 meters per second, we'll go ahead and add that maneuver right here. 40.8. I'm not going to go to the maneuver node this time. We need to be in target retrograde. And we'll warp around to about here. Actually, that was to next maneuver. I don't want to warp to next maneuver. I want to warp to about here. And now we will physics warp as we turn towards target retrograde. It's only 11.6 meters per second, but that's after this burn. So it's actually 40.9. Kind of snaking our way over here. That's exciting. Okay, that's correct-ish, but it's going to need to be readjusted over this way. Yeah. Definitely going to need to be readjusted. And let's eyeball this. Where are we? We should be out over this direction? Yeah, 3.2 kilometers out. Not bad at all. We don't necessarily care about this at this point. I was mostly using this for timing, but we'll warp a little closer here. Yeah, let's just eyeball it. Okay, it loads in. And we're going to kill our relative speed pretty quickly here. That's a little bit off, but it's fine. We want to head over towards target because I want to kill our relative speed a little bit better, but I also want to head in a little bit towards the target. Not very much here, but a little bit. We should be safe to physics warp here with everything being lashed together the way it is, but we'll be a little cautious about that, I think. Okay. Almost around to target retrograde here. We've got 417 meters per second left. That should be more than enough. Now, we don't actually want to go to target. We want to go to target retrograde here. We're probably going to have to stop this. We have a lot of momentum here. Yeah, there we go. And we'll just head over this direction a bit manually. Let's bring that down to, ideally, no velocity. That was a lot. Okay, we need to thrust limit this. Absolutely. I haven't gotten around to that yet, and let's do that now. Down to 5%. Cool. We're going to have to head to anti-target. And we'll physics warp our way around there. This is not the real distance. This is not the real location. It moves when we physics warp. Okay. With us at 5% thrust, we should be able to get this much better. Okay, we're just going to position right about here. I wouldn't mind riding this out for a little bit, though, because we are coming in closer, and that is good. We want to get into probably like 150 meters would be ideal. So let's just warp that in and let this close in a little bit. It's 180. Okay. This is within 150 meters. So let's go ahead and kill this relative velocity now. That will make this a lot easier. Actually, we could bring it in a little closer even. And that would make things even easier. Okay. This is probably about as close as we're going to get, in all honesty. So I'm just trying to align ourselves at target retrograde here a little bit more. There we go. And let's kill that velocity. 2, 1. That's probably close enough. Okay, we're going to target this docking port here. And we're going to begin to turn to that. But we also need to control from this docking port and have that target this docking port. There we go. Okay, we'll turn around and face that. And we're going to have a bit of a ballet going on here. Oh, look at this. This hinge is free-flowing at this point. All of these are. Once again, I wish that KSP would fix that. That would be awfully nice. Okay. We'll just get those all reset. Okay. And we are basically upside down. Please make vassal on your mega campaign. I'm not sure which vassal you're talking about. Make Scandinavia our vassal? I mean, Scandinavia... In the mega campaign, Scandinavia is conquered. They're part of our territory. We need to get this rolled on around here. To be facing about like this. Cool. And let's face target. We're only about 40 meters out here. Cool. Okay, I'm going to swap back over here and turn SAS off because I don't want it to have that roll. And looking at alignment here, the alignment looks pretty good. We're not pointing exactly at target right now. Release Scandinavia on our mega campaign. That sounds like heresy. Okay, we're going to head in over this direction. I'd like to be moving in very gently. Yeah, our governing cap would be lower, but that's kind of the point of the mega campaign at this point, is having an insane governing cap, if I'm honest. So we're going to head in over here, and it looks like we're to be a little bit off. Our velocity is not exactly where we wanted to be. But that's fine. I want to let this bounce, let it ride for the moment. Actually, that looks pretty good. Nope, we bounced. Okay. Freeze those physics, and we are going to continue to try this again. So you can see here, we're pretty far off on our angling. So we're going to have to re-angle the station here. But we're much, much closer now. I'm wondering if we can actually get there just from turning. It'd be pretty close. Yeah, not quite. But that is definitely pretty close. Okay, we'll try to re-angle this, and we're going to head in very soon here. I don't want this guy to spin. That's mostly what I'm trying to prevent at this time. Okay, let's head in very, very gently here. And it looks like we are fine on our angle. Well, that one went well. Cool. So we're going to pin this open and move that fuel into here. And there we go. And we will decouple that. Fantastic. And that's out of here. Wait, we can EVA report here. Badlands! Badlands! We finally got it. We finally got the in-space near the Badlands. Okay, well, that worked. Cool. So we have half of this ready to go. We, of course, need to strut this back together. And we will EVA here. And let's head on over. Maybe bonk our head on our engine, but probably not. Okay. Are we close enough now? Scale is always hard when we're on these parts. But yeah, looks like we are. So, at this point, we are going to grab... Cannot grab this strut connector due to part attachments? What? That's weird. That's really weird. But we can grab this strut connector. Oh, this strut was connected to that strut, wasn't it? That's very strange. There was a strut buried in there that I didn't know existed, apparently. Well, that's exciting stuff. We're going to bring this on down. And I guess this strut doesn't really need to be anywhere. We could connect it together like this, I suppose. Okay. And then we can, if I can fix our velocity here. There we go. We can start to bring these in. Cool. There we go. Fantastic. And we will head on over this direction. Bring that momentum down. And there we go. Couple more struts to do here. This should be reasonably secure. And by reasonably secure, I mean overkill secure. That's what we're going for here. I need to kill that velocity and come on over to this side. And there we go. Way too many struts. That's what we're going for here. So Goebbels can now head back. And we've got some more of these to do. So I do want to check what the cost difference is with those Mark IIIs. Where's the entrance? Down on this side? Yes, down on this side. Okay. Let's bring it on in. And let's hop aboard. Okay, so this is a giant mess of struts, but that's fine. We're going to head back to the Space Center, and we want to take a look at the cost differential between more of the S4 tanks and the Mark III tanks. Honestly, I don't think it's going to require a huge ship redesign, but that is definitely what I want to look at. So let's head in here and take a look at the VAB. Any moment now, VAB. You can do it. There we go. Fantastic. Okay, so the overall cost of this is $334,775. So let's go ahead and drop this off here. And then drop this. Now, oh, right. There's these components here. For now, I'm going to move the photovoltaic panels up here so that they're not affecting our cost measurements. And we're going to move the arm up here as well. We're going to put that back, almost certainly. But this solar panel didn't get moved. Okay. And then we can remove these struts. Okay. So let's take a look here at the... Actually, I'm just going to leave that there. Let's take a look at the Mark III. And that is going to be 2 of these guys, which does fit this a little bit better. But 2 of these guys and 1 of the shorter ones. Okay. So the cost of that is $71,486. The cost of this is $74,659. So there's not a huge difference there, if I'm honest. It's broadly similar in terms of tonnage as well as in terms of cost, but I'm going to do it anyway because this is slightly more efficient. Now, this is longer, to be sure. Aerodynamics are going to be a bit of an issue, I think. Actually, it might be worth it not to do this just for the length. That said, if we were to just go straight up, it would probably be fine. But, I mean, we're saving like 3,000 in terms of our in terms of our cost, and in terms of our mass here, this is 937.765 tons. And if we don't save this and reopen the existing one, the mass of that is actually slightly lower. No, it's slightly higher by like 5 tons. That's right. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking of the wrong number. So we save like 5 tons and like 3,000 money for that. Honestly, I think it's probably not worth spending the time on redesigning it. It's a good idea. It is slightly more efficient for sure, but I don't think it's really hugely enough. If you go for that design, add another reaction wheel. Yeah, we would almost certainly also want to add aerodynamic control surfaces for our ascent. So that would probably by itself wipe out the cost savings. Even just adding a reaction wheel would likely wipe out the cost savings. So I think we're just going to keep doing what we're doing for now, and this will be fine. Okay, let's get this guy up into orbit. And off we go. Once again, I'm going to go for a much more vertical ascent trajectory. That works a lot better for this craft. It's slightly less delta V efficient, but that's fine. We're going to go heavily vertical here. And there we go. We'll just head on over. And this should be reasonably fine. Lock to prograde. A lot of vertical speed here, for sure. But we mostly just want to burn out our side boosters on vertical speed and then use this fuel here for horizontal speed. That's mostly the strategy here. Fantastic. We're a little off on our heading. That's probably fine. .30 kilometers apoapsis here. And we're going to be separating in 5 seconds here. There we go. And at this point, I'm completely comfortable heading over to the horizon. As long as we don't pick up a tumble. A tumble would be problematic with the Delta V margin that we've got here. But I think we're fine. Yeah, we're completely okay. There we go. We'll just hold right around here. Perfect. So we're at 70 kilometers right now for our apoapsis. We need to pick up a lot more horizontal speed, but that is a good amount of vertical speed. I'm reasonably happy with that. But this thing really likes to roll instead of yaw, and that's a thing. Which is understandable, but it's slightly irritating. Okay. So we're at about 75 kilometer apoapsis height here, and this is just going to keep burning here until, once again, we're at 100 kilometers. We just want to do basically the same exact thing. The last one went a lot better, and I'm hoping that this will be similar. Okay. Doctor Strange versus Spider-Man, best friends. That may be further in the MCU than I am right now. I would appreciate not having spoilers, but I'm pretty far behind. Okay, so there we go. Apoapsis of 100 kilometers, and we are just going to add a maneuver here and push that on out. Cool. Only about 200 meters per second to get into a circular orbit. Looks good to me. That said, we only have about 700 meters per second here. The more vertical we go, the less efficient it'll be, but we've had excess for every single one of these launches, so that's great. We will extend this on out. There we go. And we will align for this burn. Can probably physics warp at this point. There we go. I still think you should add some kind of nose and decouple it later. Yeah. The thing about that is that is a possibility for sure. It adds mass. I'm not sure if it actually reduces drag in any meaningful capacity in KSP. It would protect against like aerodynamic heating forces, but we've got other bits over here that are a lot more vulnerable, like the photovoltaic panels. So those I'm more concerned about. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that would actually be beneficial or not. I'd have to experiment with that. We're going to start our burn in about 20 seconds here. 2, 1, and 0. I mean, I do add nose cones, but do I have an antenna on the main craft? Yes, there is an antenna on the main craft. We're not having any antennas on these crafts because they're going to attach to the main craft, and they're not going to be far from Kerbin before they attach. But yes, there is one on the main craft. So we're going to hop over. I don't want the mover debris to be our target. Can we... We'll just detrack that. We'll head back to the tracking station and untrack that debris. We aren't very far away from it, of course, because we just decoupled it. It's not a big deal. Depends on how fast you go. Yeah, that sounds right. So we're going to terminate this real quick, get that out of here. And our large asteroid tank is now able to be going to... Words are suddenly very difficult. I don't know what I'm saying. People use fairings and nose cones to cheat drag with SSTOs. Okay, good to know. We'll probably put that on the next one then, and we'll give it a go. Sounds good. Okay, so we are going to set this as our target. How far are we off here? Oh, that's not bad, actually. We are only under a degree off. I like it. We will burn normal here and get that down to... There we go. 33.5 meters per second gone there. But that's fine. We'll physics warp as we head over to normal. And we can burn this largely any time now and get close enough. Okay, so I'm going to warp a little closer to this. I'm just not going to be too concerned about this timing because I'm not going to throttle up to full. Okay. .8. That's probably 0.1 is now almost certainly good enough. Yep, looks good. Okay, so at this point we need to plot ourselves an intercept. So we will add a maneuver here. That is going to require some orbits. Okay. Can tell you that right now. That's not bad, though. 4.6 kilometers. I see 3.7 as the closest. That's not really as close as I'd like to be. 3.3. Maybe a little bit of normal in there, or anti-normal. No. No, that is not what we want at all. So we're going to go for radial then, probably. Which radial direction? This one. That doesn't get us super close, but close enough to fine-tune it a bit with prograde. We're going to have to change our timing here if we want to get closer, that's for sure. Man. Very finicky here. 2.5 kilometers. 2.4. Okay. I see 1.8, 1.7. Oof. 1.3. Yeah, that is very finicky. It really doesn't want to get closer than that. Okay, that's probably good enough. We will target, I think, 1.3. Where was that at? There we go. Okay, so we will align for that. And we will need to warp around to that burn. That'll be okay. 1.3 is close enough. Cool. And let's warp. So this will be several orbits. And we'll have to realign, of course. But let's do that. Okay, about 30 seconds here. 15 seconds. And I'm just going to burn this about like so. .1 meters per second apart. We could definitely get that in a little bit more. Let's turn this around and head over towards there. I do want to thrust limit this as long as we're at it. So let's thrust limit these engines down to be able to maneuver a little bit more precisely. 5%. 5%. And 5%. Okay. And let's see if we can fine-tune this down just that little bit here. Down to 2 kilometers. This will start to get inefficient soon, I think. But that's looking good. Okay, 0.2 is good enough. I was hoping to hit 0.0, but no such luck. We'll go ahead and warp up over here. We're going to have to flip around to target retrograde, and we're just going to eyeball this. That'll be fine. We're going to have to flip basically fully around here, and that's why I didn't warp super close in. There we are. 9.3 kilometers out. Eight kilometers out. Let's go ahead and begin a bit of a warp here. We're going to have to redirect our aim fairly soon. Once we hit, I think, 4 kilometers, we'll redirect. Okay. And let's just do that quick. We're now about 2 kilometers out. Okay, it just loaded in. Cool. And we'll let this drift in a little closer. We're going to want to kill our velocity quite soon. Let's do it now. Oh, I should have done it earlier. I definitely should have done it earlier. Okay, well, that's 5% thrust for you. We're just going to squeak right on by here, with the frame rate just absolutely tanking for some reason. I don't really know why, but that's okay. We're down to about 20 meters per second apart, and we're just going to bring it back on in. Yeah, I was for some reason thinking that this is like double the thrust that it was, but yeah, this is close enough. We're going to start redirecting over towards target at this point, because I want to bring this in at about probably like 5 meters per second. There we go. Let's flip it back around. With the physics warp, we're so close, but we're not actually that close. Like, we're actually over here, but we're too close to physics warp, I think. Okay. So we're going to bring this back around, and we're going to kill our relative velocity. I'm going to turn RCS on here to turn a little bit faster. Okay. Looks good. RCS can go off now. And we're going to kill our relative velocity here. This is definitely a little hairy. Okay. There we go. That was a slightly spooky way to go in. I'm not going to lie. But we're going to bring this around. It ended up working in the end, kind of. We need to find our way around to target retrograde at this point and kill the 0.4 meters per second that remain. Hello, Sharp Tile. And we're just going to come on over to this retrograde point. We're going to have to do a lot of reorientation here. This is a weird angle to be coming in at, but that's fine. Cool. Freezing the momentum there. And let's kill that velocity just that little bit. There we go. Okay. At this point, we want to flip over to this craft. Set this is our target. I'd like to control from here. And let's turn that over. Cool. We're not going to turn this at all yet. We're going to move just this guy. And tank number 5 should go in pretty easily here, in theory. Okay. I do want more vertical here. But that's what we're getting now. Okay, let's call that good. And at this point, we need to... Well, that's not good. That's not good at all. We need to continue to turn here. There we go. This guy was just in the way. So we're going to have to continue to turn and get this lined up first. Cool. Now that should be good enough. SAS off. And we'll switch back. And at this point, we want to angle over, like so. Boy, this thing doesn't like to move. I'm going to use RCS here, just to get us moving a bit. Okay, and we're going to have to realign again once we get this turned, but that's fine. This is going to be a multi-step process. Those struts are such a mess. Yes, they are. They do not have to be pretty. They just have to hold it together. That's literally the only thing they need. Okay, so we're going to have to roll the station down a little bit to be on plane with us, but this is looking good. Okay. We're going to hold here. SAS off. And we're going to flip on over. Realign the station at this point. And we'll just get them much closer together. We're going to have to roll this guy over as well. It's facing the wrong way right now. So that's fine. Okay. SAS off, freeze physics, and there we go. We need to roll this guy all the way around to be about here. And let's burn in. I'm pulling slightly off of the node to try to pull the actual node over a bit. Okay, that's as good as we're going to get. Kill those physics, and we're just going to realign. And hope that we don't take anything out on the way in. We are going to need to realign the station once we get set up here. Okay. Let's get the station realigned. Our momentum is going to be a little off, but that's okay. Cool. That's a little off because our momentum is a little bit off. Yeah. We're definitely going to be off here. Can you point at the target, please? Thanks. That would be nice. So we're going to bounce. That's fine. That's what we've been doing basically this whole time. This is the not recommended bounce method of docking. Yep. Okay. We freeze physics, and that's going to be spicy. We just need to get realigned. Okay. SAS on, please. Get realigned here. And we're going to try it again. Just as soon as we're aligned, which will be now. These guys always reset, and I really wish that they wouldn't. Okay. This would be a lot easier if we could if we could turn this thing a little bit more, but we can't. So that's fine. Freezing the physics, and let's go in. We're a little bit off on our rotation here. And we're going to be a little off on our momentum too. Yeah. Reasonably expected. SAS off on the station, please. We're going to have to try it again, but that's fine. We are pushing the station over here, I believe. But I just want to get set up here. It'd be a lot easier if this thing wasn't so heavy. But it's fine. This is completely okay. We're going to keep going up to retrograde up here. Because I want to kill the relative velocity here. These things just dangling freak me out so much because I always think there's going to be a Kraken. Okay. So the relative velocity is going to be fixed here. There we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. And let's realign. Okay, and realign here. Just take some minor realignments. And this time we should be much better suited for making the actual docking run, rather than the bounce method. Cool. Going to turn SAS off here, freeze those physics, and we're going to head back in. We are basically exactly lined up right now. I want to get our roll correct-ish. There we go. And we'll head in very, very gently. 0.4 meters per second. We'll time warp in a bit. Okay. We'll just try to get these angles correct, so that hopefully it actually docks up. That'd be nice. We'll see if it happens. But it's looking good. Cool. So there we go. And this time we are going to, of course, move this angle out a wee bit here. And this is a little closer than I thought it would be, but we're going to keep this at an angle of 0. And what happens if we just arm this? Does it grab? Status locked. I'm not sure if it's grabbed or not. We can find out. Okay, it didn't grab. We're probably going to need to move this arm a little bit. That's something we can do with the engineer. This is a little closer than I thought it was going to be. That's okay. We don't have to get this done. We don't need to control from here either. We're going to disarm that, and I'm going to reset these guys. I really dislike that it dangles them loosely. I'm wondering... Yeah, just reset to build extension. Auto shift state. Okay. Well, there. We'll just get those put away. There. Okay, so the plan was to link this up here. We're probably just going to have to move it, like, over here instead. That's fine. We'll have Goebbels EBA, and we are going to let go here. We haven't ejected this yet, but that's fine. We're going to come up over this way, and the plan here is to get this strutted in a bit. Cool. Get that connected like so. And then I do want to move this section over here. So we're going to grab this and attach it here for now. This, attach it here for now. And then this and attach it here. Actually, for purposes of the hinge, I probably want it rotated a little bit. Not like this. This is entirely the wrong rotation. Let's get it back. Any moment now, Goebbels. There you go. That's the rotation I wanted it to be. Okay. Get that guy flipped around, and we're going to need to get it to snap on there, which could be exciting. We're going to need to change our drift here. So let's get this animation done. Cool. And we're going to start drifting this way, which is more correct. This is going to be difficult, isn't it? It's going to be very difficult to get that to snap on there. Never mind. Got it. I don't know how, but we got it. Perfect. Okay, now we need this guy to snap on here. Not there. Okay, that is not the direction I wanted it, but I guess it works. Come on, Kerbals. Stop your animation. There we go. Okay. Now, I don't know if that'll actually grab there or not, but we can find out. And, right, that's this part. So, for now, I'm just going to move this, like, over here. That'll be fine. And we'll grab this, strut that in over here. Honestly, we don't need a lot of these struts, I don't think. 4 is probably more than sufficient. But we'll just head over here. Get these all dealt with. Okay. There we go. And one more over this way. I honestly don't think we need more than these few struts. But it is better to have too many than too few. Okay. So there we go. Let's get the rest of these strutted together a bit. There we go. Only a mild mess here. And by mild, I mean rather extreme. Cool. Okay. Strut these guys on as well. There we go. Can you use the struts between the two tank sides? Probably, in all honesty. That's probably something that we can do. It will almost certainly reach. There is a spare strut around here somewhere. Actually, it's this one, isn't it? Yeah, this is a spare strut here. So we can do that. That would be a thing that we can do. Yep, and there's a spare strut here too, it looks like. If I can grab it. Yes. We could maybe have that go like on top. So for now, I just want to park it there so that we can get some momentum here. Okay. And then we would have that go like up here. As soon as we get in range for that, of course. Kind of like that. Yeah, that is definitely something that we can do. And we can omit this grab arm if we wanted to. Okay, we're going to head over this direction and put Goebbels away. And that'll be great. Okay, it's on the other side. That's right. Go on, Goebbels. Nope. Just missed it. There we go. Oh, nope. We're good. Good job, Goebbels. Okay, so we need to move this fuel out, and we will put that right here. Fantastic. And we will decouple. There we go. That is 5 done, 3 to go. Let's hop back to the Space Center and untrack that debris that we just created. Any moment now. You can do it, Kerbal. And we'll add in a nose cone onto that decoupler. Or not decoupler, onto the docking port. We'll omit the arm as well. That's going to be fine. We may not have enough cash to get all 3 of them. Yeah, I think we're going to have enough cash to get 2. But that's fine. I got us enough cash to get all of them until I blew one up. That is my own fault, of course. And we will terminate that flight. That is absolutely fine. And let's hop in and get this going. Okay. Now, another thing that we could do is we could work on cleaning up some of these contracts. And in fact, maybe we should take a break and do that. Now, this is a little bit of a spoiler for the next episode. So if you don't want to be spoiled on that, you can mute the video for the next few seconds. Like, I'll go like this when the spoiler is over. Okay, so I kind of messed up. We were working on extracting the ore from the moon, and I read KER wrong. So we can actually fix that here. So that's something that I think we are going to do eventually, but we're going to need more cash. That's for sure. You'll also notice that we picked up this contract. I explain that one a bit later on. Okay, spoilers are over. I explained that one in the episode, so no worries there. Spoilers are over, and let's hop into the VAB here and send up another one of these. I'm a little concerned about having enough for the Duna mission, but I do want to double check here what the cost of the bad design was for the moon miner. Again, I read KER wrong, so I guess that's still spoilery. Okay, well, I want to check the cost here real quick, and I'm not going to load it up, but 67K? Okay, we should be fine. So we are going to load back up the large asteroid tank here. I'm going to omit the arm here since we now know that that's not going to work. That'll save us a little bit of cash. And then as far as the nose cone goes, if we put in a decoupler on top of this, would that block the port? That's something that I would need to know. Like after it's decoupled. We can check that. Like, we'd be able to put in, like, a TD25 decoupler here. It's kind of hilarious looking, but that's fine. And then we'd be able to put in a nose cone on top of this. That would be about the right size to cover this entire area, as far as aerodynamics go. Approximately. We could do that. The question is, if we decoupled this, and I'm just going to put it out on the pad. If we decoupled this, what would that end up looking like as far as the actual port? I'm pretty sure it should be okay, and we're going to revert this after we do it, but I just want to double check. So we'll put this on in. As soon as this loads, let's check this. Come on, KSP. You can do it. I have faith. Flip the decoupler over. Yeah, that's probably a good call. We will do that. I just want to double check this. I want to fire... Where is this decoupler in here? Here. Okay. I want to fire the decoupler and just see what happens. Flipping it over is probably what needs to happen. Yes. That is exactly what needs to happen. You are correct. So we're going to revert that back to the vehicle assembly and get that flipped. I just wasn't sure which direction it went. But now that we know, we will get that flipped. Okay. There we go. And we'll launch that guy. So that should work just fine. I'm going to double check it, but it should work. Okay, KSP. You can do it. I have faith. Come on, KSP. If you place it on the docking port, you don't need a decoupler. You can just undock it, right? Yes, but you have to have a backwards-facing dock that you place on there. So either way, you need a part for that. It would be like a grab arm if you wanted to not have that. I'm pretty sure. Well, you're both saying the same thing. We can check that. Yeah, this does it correctly. So we'll revert that back to vehicle assembly and double check that. I'm pretty sure that you can't do it that way, but I could be wrong. That might be a change that they made at some point too. But let's check it. For science. If we can save a little bit of money on that, that would be great. I'd be very happy about that. Not that it's going to be a lot of money, but yeah, that would be for the best. Let's double check it, and if it works, great. I would love to be wrong here. It seems like I've tried this in the past and it didn't work. It won't have any ejection force, but it will come off. Okay. Well, we'll check that. We don't need ejection force. Any moment now, KSP. There we go. So if we can grab the actual docking port here, that's going to be the complicated part. It's kind of blocking that. So maybe if we clip through here. Yeah, that'll do it. Yep, we can undock that. And it did actually have ejection force. So that's cool. Works perfectly fine. We'll revert that back to launch, and we'll launch this. Cool. Good to know that. I'm pretty sure I tried that in the past and it didn't work, but that might have been something that they changed a long time ago and I just never tried again. That's a possibility. Okay, let's throttle this up, SAS, and off we go. So we'll see how that nose cone does for performance. We were getting into orbit with like 700 meters per second to spare, so let's see if this improves it or not. In theory, it should. And we should probably head over. We're a little slow on that this time. I'm going to go a little bit further to about here. Okay. We'll hold here and then lock to prograde once prograde catches up. There we go. Fantastic. We're doing KSP Mythbusters now? Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. I would just need enough myths to test. But yeah, every time I play KSP, it does seem like I'm playing Mythbusters. I do a lot of for sciencing, that's for sure. So we're going to decouple this here in about 10 seconds. Punching up through the atmosphere nice and quickly. That did feel like we had less drag. And off those go. And we are now going to... Oh, that's a lot of roll. That is so much roll. Okay. Let's try that. That's a little bit better. That is still so much roll. There we go. That's about where we want to be. Approximately. I mean, that's just something that's endemic to this particular design, that roll, right? So we could probably fix it, but it sounds like work to isolate it. Okay. Oh, I'm sure it already has been myth-busted as true. The difference is whether I'm aware of it or not. There are a lot of things that I'm not aware of. Okay, so we will just continue gaining horizontal velocity here. We're still in the atmosphere, so I don't want to ditch this just yet. But once we finish up this burn, we probably will. Boy, that's a lot of roll coming in. Okay. Well, that's fine for now. I'm not too concerned about the roll at this moment. Okay, so we're going to be hitting 100 kilometers here pretty soon. We're at about 90 right now. We are now officially in space. I don't want to ditch the nose cone while we are under thrust, but we are no longer under thrust. I want to roll a little bit up towards normal, and I want to get in here and grab this. There we go. I just want to go a little bit out of the prograde path, and then we can undock it. Cool. And now we can go back to prograde. And at the apoapsis, we can add in a maneuver here and push that straight on out and circularize. Fantastic. 231 meters per second there. Honestly, we have about the same amount of delta V. That seemed like it was a wash, but that said... our ascent profile is wildly different every time, so we'd need to use like MechJeb to really test that. Honestly, this is kind of apples to oranges right now with me doing these crazy ascents. Well, they're not crazy. Me doing these ascents that are wildly different from each other because I'm doing them differently. They're not crazy ascents. It's just that they're crazy different is what I meant to say. Okay, so we're going to warp ahead to this point very soon here. Right, actually we can extend our solar panels. Not like we're super concerned about energy, but we'll get that done. Cool. And we will warp ahead to this. And burn. Cool. So that'll get us into orbit. No problem whatsoever. This is probably good enough. Yeah, that's good enough. Okay. So at this point, we need to get our inclination change done. 1 degree here. And we are going to... That's a little too much. Going to do that. There we go. 40 meters per second for that. Looks reasonably fine. It is very likely that the fact that our delta V is similar is just because we had a different descent profile. I don't necessarily think that that means that having that nose cone there is a net loss. Okay, we now need to warp over to this burn. And we will get ready for that. And we will burn this in 3, 2, 1, now. That's probably good enough. Yep. Fantastic. So next we will look for an encounter here. What do we got? That's actually reasonably close. But we are going to have to wait for some orbits here. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Come here, you button. There we go. Yeah, I thought it might be going that way. That's fine. Cool. That's 24 kilometers apart. We can probably get it closer than that. Actually, we definitely can. 7 kilometers. 7.3. Okay. Let's fine-tune it a bit. And bring this in a little. 6.8. 6.5. Yeah, those radial add-ins are exciting. 4.2. Man, only down to 4.1? Oof. More radial. Okay. 3.9. Yeah, that's quite a bit, for sure. I mean, we're basically burning towards target, right? I'm pretty sure that's what's happening here. 2.3 kilometers and 2.0. Maybe a little bit of normal? It shouldn't be much, if anything, though. No. None of that. Okay. Can we change the timing at all to improve that? 1.9? That is a slight improvement. No radial change there, but we can bring it in a little bit more by continuing to tweak it this way. .0 kilometers, huh? 0.8. I think that's about the best we're going to do. Okay, 0.7 kilometers sounds good to me. We will align for that, and we should definitely thrust limit this. I'm going to go to 10% this time instead of 5. Just because that braking burn really felt like it needed more thrust. Okay, so 10% should be fine on the thrust limit. If we can get there. There we go. And we will get that turn done. And let's warp this on in. About 4 hours to warp here. Several orbits. Unsurprising. 1 hour and just about done on that orbit. Cool. Okay, so we're going to need to burn here in about 58 seconds. We want to be pretty accurate on this timing if we can help it. And yeah, as expected, this is basically a target burn, but not exactly. Okay. And we're going to burn this in about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Cool. And then we're going to have to flip around to target retrograde and eyeball that, and dock this guy on up again. That's probably close enough. 0.8 kilometers. Better than our target. I like it. Okay, so we're going to need to flip around to target retrograde, but that's going to move a lot. So we're just going to go to the apoapsis over here for now. And there it is. Cool. Only about 10 kilometers out. We will physics warp as we turn. And we know that our closest approach is allegedly 800 kilometers, but I don't believe that for a minute. It's going to be something entirely different. It often is, anyway. So we're going to position here and warp a little closer. Ooh, we are getting close to loading the physics here. Okay, let's go ahead and get ourselves aligned back to target retrograde, since that will take a little while. There's the physics load. Cool. So yeah, we're definitely going to be bypassing it. This is not an impact trajectory. That's a good thing. Just positioning back onto target retrograde here, and warping a little bit. This is probably about the closest we're going to get, in all honesty. We're going to get a little closer maybe, but I'm going to burn it here. 25 meters per second, 20 meters per second, 15, 10, 5. Okay. And we're going to be a lot more gentle with the last little bit. Okay, that's good enough. We'll head over towards target. This physics warp makes things awkward, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, so that's the actual target position there. We're not going to want to go in very quickly. In fact, we should probably freeze this physics and kill our relative velocity, since we are almost a meter per second. So we'll do that. If we can get down there. It's always exciting. This thing really could use another reaction wheel, but that's added mass that we don't technically need. Okay. So we'll position here, freeze those physics, and let's bring down this relative speed. Should be good. And we'll head over towards target, which is actually like here, if I recall correctly. Okay, it's a little further than that. Cool. Okay. So we're going to start burning in towards the target and just getting a little bit closer here. We'll burn in at about 5 meters per second. That's 4 meters per second and 5. Okay. Now we'll flip back around to target retrograde as we head on in, because we are, of course, going to have to kill our velocity once we're a little closer. Okay. So we're heading in over this way. I'd like to bring this in under 150 meters. I don't know how realistic that is. Under 250, though. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. It's actually better than I thought. We might get that sweet, sweet 150. It's going to be very close. Yeah, that's fine. We're going to start braking here. And there we go. Okay, let's go ahead and turn towards the target. And we're going to have to orient for docking here. We're probably too far out to really make a docking run, but it's okay. So let's get turned in here and attempt to get a little bit lined up. Obviously, we're going to have to turn this craft. Almost there. While that's turning, we can now set this as our target. If we can actually... We can't quite select it because that's 150 meters out. But I'm going to control from here. Yeah, that's still a little too far out. Sad. Well, that's okay. We can set this guy as our target. And that'll do for now. Okay. So let's get that rotated on over. It's a very silly looking setup. We probably do want to move these solar panels so that they're not overlapping the way that they are, but that sounds like work. And I'm not actually that concerned about power for this thing, so it should be okay, all things considered. Okay, so we'll get approximately aligned here. I'm going to want to go in a little closer. Cool. So something kind of like this will do. Our delta V out here is so minuscule because there's so much weight on this. We might have to think about bringing in some additional oxidizer at some point for this guy. Well, we'd need more liquid fuel as well. We'd think about that. I would have to think about how I wanted to do that. This is only 454 meters per second right now. With 4 mainsails pushing, we are at half a thrust to weight ratio. Yeah, that's fairly expected. Okay. So we are going to turn this guy a bit. Like so. Doesn't matter which of these are up. We just need one of them to be up. Okay. And now we're going to come up over this way. Kill our relative speed, which is only 0.3 meters per second. We don't have to go too far off of this, so that's fine. Come on up. There you go. Cool. We'll kill that. And head back over towards... Oh, physics warping isn't moving this thing now. That's nice. Head back over towards here. There we go. Cool. Let's go ahead and rotate this guy a little bit more. And we are picking up a little speed, but we're going to have to head in pretty soon here. Are we controlling from this port? Okay, we'll control from there, and we'll just head on in a little bit. I'm not expecting this to be correct velocity. I just want to get a little closer. So we're going to move in at half a meter per second, and then flip around to anti-target. Because it'll be a lot easier to get this thing docked up once we are in closer. It looks like we're getting further away, but that's because this is turning. Yeah, there we go. All good. I don't really like that we're drifting this direction, necessarily. That's not really the way I wanted this to go. Can we not roll like that, please? Thanks. I want to just head over to the retrograde. We are getting closer still, though, and we can always reorient this. That's not a concern. Come on. Almost there. There we go. Okay. Yeah, this is not exactly the direction I was hoping to go, but it's fine. Let's get reoriented a little bit here. And we are going to kill this velocity here pretty soon. I think now is fine. Okay. Now we'll align it to the target here. And that thing is also trying to align to us. So we'll let that settle out here. Okay. Can see that we're still drifting this direction a little bit, which I don't necessarily love, but we will start to head in here at about 0.5 meters per second. And let's see how that goes. Oof. Still going this way, huh? Okay. Well, we'll flip it on around. And yeah, the whole station is going to flip with us right now. That's completely understood and expected. Okay, we need to head over this direction. There we go. About 40 meters out. Some wild careening going on here. No doubt about that one. Oh, I overshot that. I feel like a moron for that. But, okay. We're going to have to flip this on around. We impacted a bit. It's fine. It's fine. We're going to kill our relative velocity here as soon as I can. Wait, prograde is here. It must have changed when we impacted. That's okay. Let's bring it on around. There's retrograde. I really wish KSP would make it so that you could lock to retrograde when you are less than 1 meter per second apart. I imagine the reason that they did that is a technical one. Probably to do with like floating point math or something, but it would be awful nice if you could do that. Okay, so we're going to kill that relative velocity, and now we're going to align. There we go. Hopefully now we can come in this way. Okay, we need to go... Man, this thing doesn't like to turn. But we need to just pull it over this way a little bit. Okay. And let's get that realigned. Fingers crossed that this one does it. I would like to roll here a bit. Luckily, we have good roll authority. Okay. About like that. So we can see our velocity has moved off a little bit, but in theory, it should still be okay. We're going to try to brake a little bit here with RCS, but it's not going to do, like, anything. It did bring us down 0.1 meters per second. And it worked. Cool. So that happened. And we are going to move that over here. I closed it. We're going to move that over here. There we go. And ditch this tank. Cool. So that's out of here. No worries on that one. Goebbels is now going to, of course, want to EVA and put these together. Okay, Goebbels, you can stop being stuck on your rocket. Thanks. So we're going to come down over here. And we know that we have a couple of spare struts. Is one of them here? I think it's on the other... No, it is here. Okay, so we're going to move that over to this side over here. Do we have the reach from here to strut it all the way over? Shockingly, yes. Okay. We'll take it. And then we're going to come down over this direction, and there should be another one. Okay. We need to go down. There we go. That's the correct directionality. And we'll bring this over, like over here is fine. We'll just place it here for the time being. Apparently it doesn't want to connect here. Oh, okay. Sure, that works. We'll call that good. Fantastic. We'll connect up here and here. And then we'll go down to the other side. There we go. And connect. Oh, that didn't go here. There we go. Connect that here and connect this here. Cool. This is a very awkward strut here. I am not okay with that. Connect over here? No, it didn't want to do that either. Okay. It very much doesn't want to do that. We'll try it from this lip. There. That works. Sounds good. So we'll just get the rest of these struts on. Shouldn't be too bad. Okay. Let's make our way up over this way for the moment. Oh, go on, Goebbels. You can do it, Goebbels. There we go. Okay. Connect that up here, and whoop, there we go. Get this guy to connect. That is a horrible place to connect. No, that connection is much better. Now we need to go over to the far side here and hop on down this way. Cool. There we go. And only one left? No, two left. One. And here's the second one. Cool. Did that go? That didn't go. I mean, it's probably not hugely... Oh, Goebbels, what are you doing? What are you doing, Goebbels? I guess you can do that, but I don't know where that connected, and things are awkward. Okay. Goebbels just decided she was going for quite a flight there. I have no idea where that thing went. It's probably not necessary. Oh, is that it over there? No, that's not... That's the strut over here. It's not necessary. We're just going to say it's dead to us. Cool. I have no idea where it is, and hopefully it won't matter. It shouldn't matter. Okay, so we have 2 of these to go, but we only have the funding at this point to do 1 more. So I think that's all we're going to do for this stream today is 1 more. But we are going to have to do 1 more on camera for the actual series, and I think that's okay. We can get 1 done that way as well. So let's head back to the Space Center here real quick. because we're going to need to launch one more here. And actually, I want to check our funds. We know that we need enough to do our actual mining mission, which is going to be, I'm going to budget like 100K for that. If we have enough to do this last one, we'll do it. If we don't, we may call it here for today. We'll see. Any moment now. There we go. Okay, cool. So we would have enough to do it and have just over 100K to spare. Cool. So we're going to hop into the VAB then, and we are going to do that. I am concerned about getting this thing to the asteroid. We'll have to see how we want to do that. We may end up having to send up like a xenon pusher to get it there. That would be really awkward. But we can do one more of these, and then after that, we're going to have to stop to get more money, and that's going to be a series activity because I want to do the mining in the series, and I want to do the Duna trip in the series too. So we're going to do it that way. We're going to launch this last asteroid tank. If I hadn't have blown up that one, we would have had enough to do them all, but I did, and it's fine. Okay. So we will launch this last one up there, and that should be fine. Come on, KSP. You can do it. Any moment now. I think KSP might want to restart. That might be a good reason to stop after this one, too. KSP seems to be getting increasingly bogged down, so there is that. We'll throttle this up and SAS on, and off we go. I'm going to start the turn this time at like 80 meters per second, I think. That'll be fine. Cool. That feels like that's maybe too much of a turn. Okay, we'll just lock to prograde from here. Nice sunrise launch. I like it. And off we go. There's a lot of mainsails lifting this thing, that's for sure. So we've got about 30 seconds of burn left on our primary booster stages here. 20-kilometer apoapsis, not bad. That's 30. Yeah, we're doing pretty well on this. Side boosters are going to be detaching in 3 seconds. And off they go. Okay, at this point, I want to head to the horizon. Definitely not super efficient, but it gets the job done, and we don't have to worry about parts burning off, and we don't have to worry about impacts from our side boosters. So that's all good. A lot less roll this time popping in. Don't know where that comes from, but okay. Apoapsis is currently just dipping into space, so this is looking like a reasonable ascent trajectory. It would be more efficient if it was a smoother curve, of course, but that's fine. Time to apoapsis is holding firm at this moment, and we need to burn quite a lot in order to get into orbit. Drifting a little bit off of my desired heading. Okay. Just adjusting that myself a little bit there. We have picked up a bit of a roll. Okay. I mean, that's not shocking. Not shocking in the slightest. That is a problem that this particular craft has. But since we're almost done launching them, I'm not too concerned about it. Okay. We've just about got all the speed we need. 91 and 100. Cool. At this point, we'll head up a little bit towards normal. I just want to eject this nose cone out of our way a bit. Okay, that'll do. And back towards prograde. Fantastic. So we are going to need to add a maneuver here and circularize this a bit. That's more delta V than we need. Okay. Yep, something about like that. We'll head on over to the maneuver node. Slightly less delta V on this one. That's probably because of the sharp maneuver. But that's okay. 2 minutes on this burn. 1 minute to go. Okay, 5 seconds. And circularization is a go. We'll call that good enough. Right. We've still got debris there. I didn't untrack that. We'll head back to the Space Center, untrack that debris, because we can't actually select the correct vehicle with that debris there. The debris is over top of the vehicle, and we can't select it, so we'll have to get rid of that. But that is completely fine. Assuming KSP wants to load. I should probably quick save here, actually. It's been auto-saving, but I've not been doing much quick saving, and it's kind of feeling like KSP might be thinking about crashing here fairly soon. I don't know. It's definitely getting a bit sluggish. So we'll make a quick save there and hop into the tracking station. And we will just untrack that little bit of debris that we've created, just so that we can actually select the thing. We might as well get rid of these other bits of debris too. As long as we're at it, we might as well keep things a little bit more clean. And now we can fly this tank. Cool. Yeah, at this point, my big concern still boils down to how exactly are we going to get this thing to the asteroid? Because we know we need like 800, a little over 800 meters per second to break out of the solar system. I mean, we can always use the nuclear propulsion, I suppose. I think that was actually the plan, now that I think about it. The plan was to use the nuclear propulsion. For some reason, I was thinking that we had to get there with the mainsails, but no, we don't. We don't have to get there with the mainsails. We can just use the nuclear. It's not a problem. So we can set this as our target, and at this point, we need to change our inclination a bit here. We're going to need to go over here. That was retrograde. I don't want retrograde. I want anti-normal. There we go. 63 meters per second on that one. That's going to give us just about 400 meters per second with which to intercept here. Should be plenty. Okay. So we will warp around to that node, and then we'll do our intercept. That will be fine. And burn. 0.3, is that close enough? Yes, it is. Cool. Okay, so at this point, we are going to need to try to find an encounter. This is fairly far apart. We are almost certainly going to need to do orbits. In fact, we are 100% going to need to do orbits here. That's pretty close, actually. How are we doing? 4.7 kilometers? Looks good. Love the stream, but I have to leave. Well, thank you very much for watching Raw Potato, and I hope to see you next time. Okay, about 1.1 kilometers here. That's pretty close. We can probably fine-tune that a little bit with some radial. Wait a second. Okay. Okay, 0.6. That's changing wildly without actually changing the separation. So maybe a little bit of normal? That's not been the usual experience here. But yeah, a little bit of normal does it. 0.0 kilometers. That might be a little too close, but we'll see. We want it to be close. So we'll align for that. Cool. And we will go ahead and warp. 3 hours to go. 2 hours to go. Still another hour. And there we go. Cool. So about a minute here until this burn. Except that I haven't thrust limited. We're going to burn a little early. We're going to burn it like 10 seconds. Because there's no way I'm doing this at maximum thrust. Okay. Let's burn it about now. Just trying to balance this a little bit. Cool. That'll be about right. .2 meters per second. 0.2 kilometers. That's good enough. Okay, so we're going to want to switch to target retrograde and warp around to approximately here. Cool. So we're currently facing target prograde. We need to get flipped all the way around. Where's our target right now? It's about 4 kilometers out. Okay. 3 kilometers out. And we are almost aligned to target retrograde. There's the physics load. And the frame rate just tanks as soon as that thing loads. Hilarious. Okay. So we're not going to physics warp right now. We are about 1 kilometer away from this thing. It is not good for frame rates. That is for sure. So we're going to kill our relative velocity right about now. I'm going to let us drift a little closer. Okay. Bringing it down to 5 meters per second. Cool. Going to continue to bring it down a bit. Very soon we're going to start bypassing it, but we should probably warp a little bit at this speed. Okay. Just keeping an eye on the velocities here. We're still coming in a little closer. I'm just going to go ahead and kill it, though. Okay. And at this point, we are going to need to flip over so that one of these 2 ports is facing this guy. I'm going to go with this port. So we'll control from here, and I would love to be able to select this port here. There we go. Cool. So we'll go ahead and point at target and get this aligned approximately correctly. Approximately. It doesn't have to be exact, because we're just going to take it in closer and then realign. So let's physics warp a bit here while we get that set up. The 2 are basically aligned at this point. There we go. And let's head in ever so gently. I want to thrust limit this down to 10% at this point. And yeah, I do see that this has picked up a spin. We will deal with that in a moment. Okay. And 10%. Okay. Let's freeze that physics, and I'd like to rotate this guy over. Okay. And we're going to head over to anti-target. Actually, this rotation is irrelevant. We're just going to head to anti-target. And the reason for that is because... oh, that spin is disgusting. But we'll deal with that once we're a little closer in. The reason we need to head to anti-target, of course, is to kill our relative velocity. Okay. I do want to make our way over here, because we need to get closer to this thing. Any moment now, we'll make it to target retrograde. It'll be a bit yet. Spicy. Okay, we'll freeze those physics, and we'll start again. There we go. So we'll kill the relative velocity for the moment, and then we'll have to flip back around to target. That is the tedious part of this. Okay. Back to target we go. And the station has decided it wants artificial gravity, I guess. I don't know. Well, it's not actually a station. It's a fuel tug. But it has decided that it wants artificial gravity for some reason. Okay, has it stopped spinning? I think it stopped spinning. Well, kind of. It's kind of stopped spinning. Now, we need to get closer. Okay, we're going to head in like this. Once again, we're going to miss. So we're going to need to flip around to anti-target. All we're trying to do right now is get into, like, 50 meters. That would be the goal. So back around to anti-target we go. I mean, that's pretty decent, really. Of course, that's not target retrograde. That's anti-target. So we need to go to target retrograde here. Even so, that's a decent direction to be going. So this seems relatively fine. Come on, you can make it. There we go. Cool. Okay, so let's warp forward a little bit and get in a little closer. I can see that target retrograde node is drifting. So we're going to need to stay on that node as best we can. We're currently 93 meters away. I'd like to be even closer than this. Under 50 is ideal. That's under 70. It is going to start increasing eventually. Okay, this is probably about as good as we're going to get. So we should hold here and realign. So we're now going to kill our relative velocities. Any moment now. There we go. Slowly edging it in there. Okay. Align at target. Let's go ahead and physics warp here as we get aligned to target. That is within 50 meters, so that's not so bad. Okay, alignment lining up here. We just need to bounce around a little bit and let this settle. Okay, let's kill the physics and see how that goes. I want to change our roll here. Our roll is not exactly where I want it to be. That also buys time for our alignment to even out a bit. Okay, something kind of like that. Let's bring it in at 0.5 meter per second. Okay. Well, this is going to be interesting. I think our roll is slightly off again. Yes. Okay. Physics warping a bit as we come in. I see that this is rolling a little bit. We will match that. Okay. Yeah, we're going to have to match that roll for sure. Cool. We're now about 20 meters out. $18, $17, $16. We're not going in very quickly at all. I'm just going to speed us up ever so slightly. And that is, of course, because we had dropped down to 0.4. Our velocities are slightly different. There's no doubt about that one. But we are now 9 meters out. $6 meters. 5 meters. 4 meters. 2 meters. We impacted. I was hoping we wouldn't bounce, but we did. Okay. That is unfortunate. But we'll just try to alter this. Get them lined back up. And go back in. We just need this back end to come up this way a little bit. That should be doable. I don't like the amount of roll that the station is picking up right now. Like, can we not be going this way, thanks? I mean, I guess that's okay. There. Let's do this. Line it back up. There we go. Let's bring it in. We're going to impact again, aren't we? Yep. Just trying to be very, very gentle with this. At this point, we need the station to hold position here. Yeah, we just need to smooth out this angle. That's the core problem right now. Okay, station. Hold. I want the station to be the one to turn right now, primarily. This angle is the problem. Okay. This is swinging the correct direction. Fantastic. Just need to give it a little time. It'll get there. Okay. I can see that this is de-separating, or rather re-separating a little bit, but I think docking forces are pushing us in. I want the station to stop going this way. Please. Come on, station. Come on, station. What are you doing? I don't even know what the station's doing right now. It's pushing this, is what it's doing. Okay. That's awkward. Stop that. Okay. Let's freeze the physics. And we're going to have to bring it in again. That is unfortunate, but yeah, the station decided to give us a push. So we're going to need to turn here. And trying to make our way over to retrograde. So we can bring this in again. It should be fine. When we're working with docking things this heavy, it's going to be awkward. There's no doubt about it. So we're just going to position up over here at retrograde and bring it in. Just need a little bit more room to work with. Okay. And bring it up. Come on. You can do it, little reaction wheel. There. Okay, now we can realign. We're only 31 meters apart. So let's line it up. Cool. So that should be reasonably lined up. Now we're going to bring this in at just 0.1 meters per second. Yes, it will take a very long time. We're going to let that warp in a bit. Okay. And we'll realign. Because we're going to need to alter our velocity a little bit here, but it shouldn't be too bad. Okay, 0.2 meters per second. That was our correction burn there. I expect that we may end up impacting here, actually. Maybe. But we need to bring this guy on in. At this point, we cannot do any more time warp, because that will break our SAS. So we need to physics warp. I think we're actually okay-ish. Docking forces will likely compensate for the differential in velocity. It's such a tiny differential at this point. Okay. We're taking it out of physics warp here. And this looks good. There we go. Beautiful. Okay, so at this point, we are going to pull out of this fuel tank and into this fuel tank, obviously, as we have been. And there we go. This fuel tank is basically filled from empty to almost full, just with spare fuel from these guys. So we will go ahead and decouple this. And we'll have Goebbels EVA on out. I'm going to quick save here. Oh yeah, we can't do that while Goebbels are on a ladder. We're going to let go, and we're going to quick save, and there we go. We're going to get these lashed on in. And that'll be great. What's the difference between time warp and physics warp? So KSP does not have a concept of physics happening, like as in with the physics engine when you are time warping, which can go up to like 100,000x, but with physics warp, which can only go up to 4x speed, physics will continue to occur. So like collisions will happen and things like that. You generally don't want to be physics warping if collisions can happen, though, because weird things can happen when you're physics warping. but you often don't want to do one or the other in certain situations. And it's based on whether you want physics to be fully simulated or whether you just want it to be following like the gravitational path or not. Okay, so we'll move this strut up over here for now, just so that we can grab that and get it moved up over this way. Okay. Grab it again and move it up over here. Cool. So that'll be fine. We'll just need to get the rest of these struts put together. This is a large amount of fuel that we have up here. There's no doubt about that. For the record, it is an overkill amount of fuel, I believe. But I guess time will tell on that one. But based on my back-of-the-envelope calculations, this should be enough fuel. Okay. Can we just stop here, Goebbels? Thanks. Okay, let's get that put in. That is not as straight as I thought it was. That did not connect where I wanted it to. There we go. That's more like it. Thank you, Goebbels. Okay, we'll come down over this way and get these ones moved in. That didn't connect. Goebbels, Goebbels, can you stop welding and not hurl yourself into space? Thanks. You welded it wrong, anyway. So we are going to come on in over here and retry that. There we go. That's more like it. We'll come down over here, get this one in. Boy, this thing is just a frame rate killer. It's exciting. Okay. Get that put in there. Get this put in here. Cool. I'd like to get this one done before we move over to the other side, as well as this one up here. Okay, now we can move over to the other side. This is a lot of struts. I'm not going to lie. It's probably too many struts. And down we go on the other side. Just impact here and kill our momentum that way. Or at least a good chunk of it. Okay. Cool. Can't you place a ladder part out there and hold on to it while you work? Yes, you absolutely can do that. That is additional weight that we don't require. It's a small optimization you can make, sure, and it's less annoying for doing this, but this is a minor part of this construction, so I'm not too concerned about it. Okay. There we go. There's that completed. Honestly, we only need to do one more of these, and we almost took out that solar panel. We only need to do one more of these, and we don't have the cash to do it right now. So I'm not too concerned about it. Yeah, a ladder part probably would be convenient, but it's not strictly speaking necessary. So we'll head on back over here. Goebbels, you can go back into your little pod. And of course, we'll be done with this construction quite soon. And there we go. Cool. So that is 7 of the pods good to go. Beautiful. Funnily enough, this thinks that it is 4 meters per second, 0.00 thrust to weight. I'm not entirely sure about that. That's not what our simulations showed. It also thinks that it's not full liquid fuel. I think that this is a little confused. Our simulations showed that we would... Wait, this is... Oh, this is this engine. Right. And this one just doesn't say how much we've got. Well, we'll be able to push it. We tested that, so it should be fine. Okay, so at this point, we are officially out of money to put the last one on here, and we need to do some contract work, which is something I would rather do in the series, just because that's, super impactful to the series. This was a bunch of busy work that we needed to get done, and so seemed like very, very good stream content there. I think we're probably going to call it here as far as the stream for today goes, and currently I don't have any other KSP work that we are looking at needing to have done at the moment. So we're going to get some cash in the stream. That will be not next episode, because spoiler alert, it goes super well. By super well, I mean not amazing, because I'm bad at reading KER. But we're going to need to get ourselves some cash, and that's something we can definitely do. And after we get ourselves cash, then we are going to bring up that last one, and that will be also a video thing. And then we're going to go grab the giant asteroid, get that all mined up, and then we'll probably end up calling that a series. So I think that'll be it for today. And we've got a while left on that series, probably at least 2 weeks, I would say, based on what we've got left to do. So that'll be a while yet, but we're going to be bringing this one to a close fairly soon. Thanks for watching the stream, everybody, and I hope that you guys have an absolutely fantastic day. A very special thank you to... Oh. My Stream Deck doesn't want to change scenes. Okay, that's exciting. We will hop on over this way then. Cool. I don't know why my Stream Deck decided it didn't want to change scenes, but okay. A very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this stream possible, including Casserole, Sigma162, JJ Gamer, Spartan News, Nick Smarty, Video Games Are Not Real, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.